Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. Oh, shit. I forgot I hit live. What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome to the show. This is Monkey in the Morning. I'm Monkey, and it's a show. Pretty self-explanatory, really. How are you guys tonight? Hope you're well. I am sore as shit. This is what we call day 2 around here, and those of you who've been here a while know what day 2 means. It mostly means I've been in my room crying most of the day in abject horror. But I'm good. I'm having a good day otherwise, and we're going to have more fun today because that's what we do around here. We're going to start with a correction from yesterday. Destiny's little fans are mad. The video we watched of Donald Trump, the shooting, there was a slight edit in it, and I did not catch it when we were watching it, which shortens up the time of how long from when the first shot goes off to when Trump stands up and raises his hand. And here's the thing about when Monkey's wrong. Even when Monkey's wrong, he's right. Let that be a lesson to you guys, because even when I'm wrong, I'm right. Because what we were responding to was this tweet from Mr. Destiny. He says, moments or minutes. That's very important. Minutes. So I went and got a full video because that's the kind of petty jackass I am. Here it is. I will throw the link into chat so that people can go and watch it themselves, because we're not going to watch through the whole thing again. Oh, shit. That is not the link. Why did that not copy? Oh, because I didn't copy. I pasted. Whoopsie. We'll get it in there in a second. Anyhow, so here's where in this video the shooting takes place. Hang on. There we go.
I want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
There we go. The shots ring out at 8:37 in this video. And we can jump ahead to where Trump is back on his feet right here at 9:39. I don't know how you get from 8:30 to 9:30, a barely over a minute apart, and claim that's minutes. But apparently that's how things work in the liberal world, in the world of, but Donald Trump's a pussy for getting shot and standing up. So there we go. There's the correction from last night's. We'll call it an error just so they have something to claim a victory on. That's how sad it is, man. I know. Totally. It was wrong because there was a slight edit in it. All right, let's get the link actually in the chat so you guys can watch through the whole thing and see there's no edit in it. And Destiny's little sad fanboys can shut the fuck up. Oh, look, when you don't have anything else, you have to cling on to semantics or minor details. And well, that's what it is. So correction out of the way. I saw we had a birthday. Where was that? Dark Resurrect. It's your birthday. And around here, we do this. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dark Resurrect. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Hope you had a great one. And hope it continues to be great right up until midnight. And then I hope you still have a great day and everything, but you know how it is. So, guys, we're here tonight to talk about Kamala, because this woman's an idiot. How she is popular at all is beyond me, other than the fact that the press really, really hates Donald Trump. Any other person, literally any other person with her record. Okay, I don't want to say any other person because these days that's probably not true. Let's go back a decade. A decade ago, anybody like her, we don't even have to go back a decade. Let's go back 4 years ago. 4 years ago, somebody like her wouldn't even make it to the first primary. And that's not even somebody like her. That's literally her. She is so bad, she couldn't make it to the first primary with $40 million and the entire press machine on her side. Until, of course, Joe Biden jumps in and they're like, oh, Joe. But they were still not destroying the woman. She got destroyed by Tulsi Gabbard with the a horrible debate performance. But just 4 short years ago, even the press understood this woman is an idiot. She's somebody who, do you remember when they had to come out and go, Kamala suggested that Biden was racist, but he totally wasn't racist for being against busing. He wasn't racist. She was just wrong here, you guys. Now that same person is hailed as some conquering hero because she's the one that's going to be on the ballot. That's all. That's the only difference. She hasn't gotten smarter. She hasn't gotten a bunch of experience she didn't have before. I mean, she's the vice president, let's be honest. But suddenly she's like the smartest woman to ever woman. And it's absolutely insane to watch. Even lefties are looking at her going, God damn it, Kamala. And I wanted to use a lefty for the story we're talking about here because I don't want anybody to say I'm being unfair to that insufferable bitch, okay? We are going to be as fair as we can be to that insufferable bitch. And in doing so, we're going to go look at the Washington Post. This is an opinion piece from Miss Catherine Rampell, who we'll get to in a little while. We have some stuff to talk about with Catherine. Actually, it's not even with her. It's something I saw because I read this piece and I'm like, this can't be a liberal. What the fuck's going on? And then I went and read her Twitter feed. I'm like, oh yeah, she's totally on Kamala's side here. But this is her opinion piece. When your opponent calls you communist, maybe don't propose price controls. It's hard to exaggerate how bad Kamala Harris's price gouging proposal is. Now, we need to talk about a couple of things. First of all, to my knowledge, they have not used the wording price control. They haven't actually. What we need is price controls because that's language you don't use. No. Instead, what they say is we have to stop price gouging. Well, the only way to stop price gouging is with price controls. You tell them, hey, you can't earn more than this percentage of profit, or you can't raise your prices more than X percent. You know, it's still price controls without having the balls to just say, yeah, we're fucking commies and we're going to tell businesses how they have to run. Eric, thank you so much. You should see Krasenstein and Poole's argument on this. It's a special one. Oh, is this on Twitter or did they talk in person? Oh, please tell me it's in person and that there's video. I'll have to look that up. Thank you for the donation. All right, so again, this is from a friendly commentator. So we're being as generous as we can be to this insufferable bitch. We're going with somebody who's on her side. It's on X. Damn it. Okay, we'll have to read through it. Price gouging is the focus of Vice President Kamala Harris's economic agenda. Her presidential campaign says she'll crack down on excessive prices and excessive corporate profits, particularly for groceries. Now, this is something the Biden administration has been proposing for a while. Biden back in May put together a task force because that's what Democrats do. Anytime there's something that doesn't look good for them, they they put together a task force. But they have a task force on price gouging. This isn't even an original concept for her. She originally probably got it from Elizabeth Warren, and if I remember correctly, that's kind of mentioned in this article. But she's just doing what she's always done, sucking off somebody else's work. And let's see, where are we? So what levels count as excessive, you might ask? TBD. But Harris will ban it. Yeah, this is part of the problem too. I mean, she's not giving specifics. Like, if you're going to say something is excessive, right? Don't you have to have a limit? Like, how much is excessive? Is 5% too much profit? Is 10%, 20%, 100%? What is too much? What is excessive? What is that is such bullshit language. That's the thing about price gouging. as has been said of hardcore pornography, you know it when you see it. It's not hard to find where this proposal came from. Voters want to blame someone for high grocery bills, and the presidential candidates have apparently decided the choices are either the Biden administration or corporate greed. Well, yeah. Those are the two most likely people, and honestly, it's the Biden administration. Their policies, I mean, literally on day one, remember how happy they were for everything Biden was going to do on day one? You guys notice when everything started going to shit? Yeah, day one. Uh, so this is, I'm sorry, I'm going to be judging a writer here. It's one of those things that you don't have to say. She doesn't go into it further to offer other possible explanations. She did. I need to pad this a little bit. Wait, I know a donation just came through, but that did not update. I saw it, Dark Resurrect. Give me a second here. It's not updating. Come on now. Isn't technology grand when it works? There it is. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. It's totally corporate greed and not in any way the rampant levels of inflation that have been perpetuated under this administration. Well, I don't have any faith corporations would lower prices for the common man, but they would to undercut their opponents. Yeah, how long? I mean, how many times has Walmart been accused of driving small business out of business? They're targeting the mom and pop shops by having cheaper prices. How do I put this? I don't doubt that there's corporations out there who are taking advantage of the inflationary rates and using that to maybe pad their bottom line. But what's never talked about in this is that the same companies took major hits during the COVID pandemic, which, let's be clear here, the Democrats used the COVID pandemic to try to rearrange our country and fucked everything up. I mean, they're the ones who, let's call them supply chain problems, gave us the supply chain problems. But no. It's totally just those greedy corporations. Anyway, again, remember, we're reading a liberal here. It's not hard to figure. Oh, we already read that one. In a news release Wednesday, her campaign said the first 100 days of her presidency would include the first. Can I just take? I fucking am annoyed with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is the one who gives us this first 100 days nonsense. The president's in office for what, 1,200 days? And for some reason, like in the first 100 days, that had to get moved up to day one. We're going to do this. But it all started with Bill Clinton. And in my first 100 days, what we're going to do is put a finger in an intern and make the world a better place. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. To further that point, the fact that prices are as high as they are across the board is proof that it isn't just corporate greed. It's a marriage between greed and government malice. 100%. Absolutely. All right. In the first 100 days of her presidency, it would include the first ever federal ban on price gouging on food and groceries. This is a quote from her campaign. Setting clear rules of the road to make clear that That did Kamala write this herself? To make clear that big corporations can't unfairly exploit consumers. Can they fairly exploit them? Can you fairly exploit someone? I'm just wondering. We're setting clear rules of the road to make clear that big corporations can't unfairly exploit consumers to run up excessive corporate profits on food and groceries. I love that food and groceries are separated there. Are you guys getting a lot of groceries that aren't food? I mean, you could say it's processed crap, but it's still stuff you're supposed to eat. Isn't that the definition of groceries? I wouldn't call a trip to pick up, office supplies grocery shopping. It's one of those things that just bugs me because there's no reason to separate food and groceries. Just say groceries. Maybe they're talking about fast food prices, which in that case, uh, that's really y'all's doing. There's no getting around the fact that the reason that prices have gone up so much in like fast food and at restaurants is because you guys got your plan for $12 an hour or $15 an hour. You got it. You got everybody making a lot more money. Now everything costs a whole shit ton more. Don't worry about it. But is that really a need? I mean, like, let's say even you do agree with grocery price controls, right? Is that should government be getting in the business of like fast food? Would that be an area of vital interest that they have to get in there and make sure that McDonald's isn't gouging you on chicken nuggets? I mean, couldn't you just go, oh, we'll go to the store and make your own? Anyhow, but no, food and groceries. What are these clear rules of the road or the thresholds that determine when a price or profit level becomes excessive? The memo doesn't say, and the campaign did not answer questions I sent seeking clarification. Well, no, they're not going to answer that question. If you don't have to give that answer before you do it. All you have to do is tell the dumb people out there, hey, we're going to fix your problem. Don't look at anywhere that's Venezuela keeps being brought up in chat and Kanakistani. Yeah, price controls in places like Venezuela. Go look at what happened there. It's not like it helped anything. Y'all remember them eating their own pets, right? And then having to clear out the zoo so they could eat, right? Anything that these idiots are proposing, just look at Venezuela and see how it's worked out. There's other places you can look, but that's the most recent example. The most likely template for Harris's proposal is a recent bill from Senator Warren. Harris co-sponsored similar legislation with Warren in 2020 when she was a senator. Warren's bill would ban any grossly excessive price during any, quote, atypical disruption, end quote, of a market. Alas, no definition was provided for these terms either. Rather, the bill would empower the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, to enforce bans using any metric it deemed appropriate. Do you guys see why the Democrats are so against the court ruling saying that, yeah, you cannot have unchecked power with these regulators, that there has to be, Congress has to put it in writing what they're actually supposed to do? Democrats don't want that because this is what they do. See here? She doesn't have to give any specifics. No. We're going to stop price gouging. We're going to limit excessive pricing. Excessive price. Who gets to decide that? Some guy you've never heard of that gave my campaign a whole lot of money. Literally just like, hey, look, this isn't a law, but under legal threat, you have to follow it because some pencil neck geek working in the FTC decided that 5% profit was too much. Sorry, man. That's a little too much for you to be making, so I'm gonna need to throw you in jail or fine you out of existence. It's hard to exaggerate how bad this policy is. Again, this is coming from a liberal. We're being as nice as we can to the insufferable bitch. It's bad, or how bad this policy is. It is, in all but name, a sweeping set of government enforced price controls across every industry, not only food. Supply and demand would no longer determine price or profit levels. Far off Washington bureaucrats would. Not just, these are unelected people. That needs to be, you have no recourse against them. You can't recall them. And your government sure as fuck aren't going to kick them out of office when they fuck up. Look what happened with Mayorkas. The FTC would be able to tell, say, a Kroger in Ohio the acceptable price it can charge for milk. At best, it would lead to shortages, black markets, and hoarding, among other distortions seen previous times. Countries tried to limit price growth by fiat. There's a reason narrower price gouging laws that exist in some U.S. states are rarely invoked. At worst, it might accidentally raise prices. I love that at best is shortages. That's the best case scenario. Worst case is higher prices. I Am I the only one that thinks that's a little backwards? Wouldn't worst case be shortages and not higher prices? I mean, at least with higher prices, it's still available. I don't know. But again, this is from even lefties are like, this is a bad fucking idea. And it is. It really is. The government should not be involved in this. And I know people are like, but we have to have some kind of check on people. No, the check on that should be the market. It really should. And if you really want to fix the market, and nobody wants to hear this, but you really want to fix the market, get the government out of as much economics as possible, including giving vast amounts of money to poor people. Now, I know nobody wants to hear that because it's supposed to be a social safety net, but all it really is a way for the government to funnel money to already wealthy people. You create artificial demand because people have an excess of money. And then they're like, okay, well, we can raise prices. There you go. And prices are now raised. So what do you need to do? Well, the poor people can't afford stuff. We got to give them more money so they can afford more stuff. So you give them more money so they can buy more stuff. And then the corporations see that people have more money. And so they raise prices. So now the poor people can't afford it. Anybody catching the fucking cycle here? This isn't affecting rich people. You know, those Hollywood folks, they're not out there going, God damn it, my milk is just so expensive this week. They don't even fucking know what they pay for milk. They got their personal shoppers and shit. It's rich people's, it's not even an issue for them. I was going to say it was a minor thorn in their, it's not even that to them. It doesn't matter to them. It's everybody else that it matters to. It's almost like raising minimum wage does nothing. Yeah, it doesn't. It just inflates the economy. But we're not supposed to talk about that. No. All right. But she does go in to talking about profit margins. This is the one part I wanted to disagree with her. And she's not wrong in the overall, but this is what is confusing a lot of people. And there was a question I saw on Twitter today that directly relates to this. They don't even seem terribly familiar with what's happening to grocery prices, where the battle against inflation has, believe it or not, pretty much already been won. And this says grocery price inflation has come way down since its surge in 2022. And it shows that inflation of grocery prices is at 1.1%. All right. That's true, or at least according to the economic data we keep getting. It's still going up, and I'm very curious where this chart came from, because we've talked about grocery prices being up. Maybe it's grocery and your consumer prices, your the stuff that they ignore when they talk about inflation. So let's just say, for argument's sake, that yes, grocery prices are at 1%. The issue that they're having is that this 12%, and this is actually way over 12%. Notice that almost hits 15 if you're looking at the way this chart is done. Or sorry, almost 15. It's right around 14%. It was what, 13.6, I think is the highest. Don't quote me on that, but it's getting up there. But it comes way down. And I saw somebody on Twitter ask, if inflation is down, how come my grocery bill is still so expensive? And it's what I've been trying to explain to you guys. And I'm sure you guys understand it, but so many people don't. This 12% here and the 13.5 here and the 12 here, they never went away. They never went bye-bye. This didn't magically come back down to 1% here. This 1% is on top of this 1%, on top of this 1%, on top of this 1%, on top of this 2%, on top of this 4%, on top of that 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. It is a compounding issue. So all of this, that 1%, yeah, 1% sounds great. If your grocery bill only went up 1% from 2 years ago, you wouldn't be that upset about it. But that's not what's actually happened. And this is the kind of stuff, hey, the war has already been won. No, you've already lost the war, is what actually happened because the inflation happened. Winning the war would have been deflation. And I know there's people like, you can't have deflation, it'll kill the economy. You can have a short term deflationary correction. It could happen. It doesn't because when deflation happens, everybody panics. But in theory, it absolutely could happen. We just never see it because inflation is always inflating. And so when they'll tell you, oh, it's only 1%. Yeah, it's 1%. But you add that to the 12%, which was added to a 13%. It's a lot. And it's never coming back down, guys. What has to happen right now is a kind of correction that I don't know if we'll see it. If you go back to when I'm a kid, right? When I'm a kid, $20 is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You go back 10, 15 years ago, $20 is nothing. It's not nothing if you're like desperately poor, but it's not that big of a deal. $20 to my mom and dad was a lot of money. And the way that it got to where it was no big deal was the economy was even during the Bush years and stuff where you had the problem with the housing market, that bubble, the crash from the dot-com bubble, the unemployment issue under Bush. Even with all of these things, mostly the economy was pretty stable. It was stable enough that we weren't having massive headlines, except for in election years, about how people were starving to death or anything. If you go back compared to like the 20s, you didn't have people jumping out of windows because the stock market tanked a little bit. Thank you, Dangerous Spaces. That horrible Kamala Harris is part of the White House that is economically inept and caused price rises. But once Kamala Harris is in the White House, she will fix what Kamala Harris has done, right? Well, see, there's the paradox because she really hasn't done anything. And she's going to continue Biden's policy, so you can say she will, but to give her any credit for anything that's happened in the White House, we all know, even though she was the person put in charge of the border, that she didn't do shit. That was something that they said to the press so they could say, look, we're doing something. She literally has no power. The best she can do is go, I'll talk to the president about that. That's all she could ever do. I get what you're getting at there, but I see so many people assigning to her what the Biden White House has done. And we can quibble over who's actually been running the White House. I promise you it hasn't been Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is not liked by the Biden team. She's just not. And we've seen some of that fracturing. It's more likely that the chief of staff, especially when Ron Klain was there, was running things. Anyway, the whole reason I wanted to bring this up was just once again to go over and explain what's actually happening with inflation. And for the record, the press, I don't blame them for this. When they talk about it this way, when they don't mention that there's been no deflation or anything like that, typically when you're talking about economic reporting, the kind of people who read that stuff, they know. They instinctively, maybe not instinctively, they've learned it. It's just in their mind. But they know that with inflation, it compounds, and they know what compound interest, compound inflation, they know what these things are. So when somebody's doing a report on economics, and they're like, inflation has come down 1% under normal circumstances, the people who are reading that understand all of the terms. They get it. So when something extraordinary happens, like the Biden inflation, and that becomes a main focus of your 24-hour news cycle, most people at home never think about this shit. And the reporters are reporting the way that they normally would report it. We're not talking about when they claimed that a recession wasn't a recession. That's an entirely different lie. But it's not necessarily like they're trying to hide it. It's just how you report on this stuff. And I hate having to defend the press there. I really do. But it's not really their fault. It's that most people don't have to think about this because of how well things have gone for so long. Anyhow, over on the Streamlabs, thank you again. I believe that was Dark Resurrect coming through. Let me make sure. Dark Resurrect, thank you for that feminist $12. To put this in a personal aspect, I just said pert like my sister. My sister-in-law can't say the word put. When she says put that over there, she says pert that over there. To put this in a personal aspect, I just got a raise at my job. I have gone from $32 an hour to $35. 10 years ago, that would have been vacation money. Now it's just softening the cost of monthly groceries. I want my money to be worth something again. It's going to take several years. This is what's going to happen. I started to mention this earlier and got a little distracted. Unfortunately, we need wages to catch up to where inflation was. And it's going to be a rough road. It's probably going to take 5 to 10 years. But as long as there's no other major inflationary thing a decade from now, it'll feel more like 2020 again. Okay, 2019. Let's not use 2020 as our bellwether. It'll feel like 2019 again. But typically, your inflation doesn't rise. 3% is about normal. It's what they expect. So the economy has been able to keep up with wages. They always talk about, oh, wages haven't kept up with inflation. For the most part, they have, to the point where people were way better off than they'd ever been. People running around with iPhones who, if this was the 1970s, like 5% of the population could have it. Literally everybody had them, whether iPhone or, some kind of phone. And not all of them were Obama phones. People were able to afford things that, if we looked back in history, like there's no way. We have the richest poor people in the world. We just do. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing we don't have people starving in the street. But in order to get back to something like that, we need wages to catch up, and it's going to take a few years. And we need inflation to stay down for a while, which that's the real issue. We need to quit printing money. We need to get out of debt. We need to pay down a shit ton of debt. That's the other. I said this on Twitter. The government that is $35 trillion in debt is going to try to tell businesses how to deal with their finances. There does have to be a certain amount of money supply out there to keep the economy healthy. The problem is, with all the excess spending, they were just printing money. And this gets into what I was talking about earlier. Hey, give the poor people more money. Poor people have more money. They charge more. Poor people can't afford shit. We got to give poor people more money again. And that's really an issue we have to get away from. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, because you can't tell the majority. Rich people don't make up the majority of voters. Poor people do. And you can't tell poor people, hey, we're going to take away your money. Granted, it's other people's money, but still. Understatement says everyone has the answer, but no one wants to admit it. Cut spending, raise taxes, no aid until it's paid off. Yeah. We can massively cut spending. We do need to raise taxes. I know nobody wants to hear that, but we do. With the amount of money we owe. This is like when you're way in debt. You're like, I have to get a second job. I don't want to get a second job, but I need to pay this shit down. We need a second job. Maybe we just need much higher tariffs, which just translates to a tax on everybody. But anyhow, there we go. Even lefties are like, fuck no, this is a bad idea. I love the opening of that. Maybe when you're being called a communist, don't suggest price controls. So I wanted to go see who this Catherine chick was, and I went and looked at her timeline. And we're not going to look at her timeline because I really don't care that much. But on her timeline, I came across an old familiar face. Mediaite is reporting, and they stole this from other people, by the way. JD Vance interview with rape advocating anti-immigrant writer resurfaces. And who's there but our boy, the alpha male himself, Jack fucking Murphy. Thank you, JB. In lighter news, I used AI writing to write a story of Kevin Carter from the Vulture's perspective. I'm surprised it'll allow that. I was having fun with Grok today. I really was. Yes, Apex Predator, Jack Murphy himself. Apparently in September of 2021, JD Vance went on Jack Murphy's podcast. Now, we all know about Jack Murphy around. If you're new here, you might not if you weren't with us a couple of years ago, because we had a lot of fun with the Jack Murphy story. Apex Predator. I figured something like this was eventually going to pop up. Unfortunately, when it comes to right-wing social media, and that's what this was. JD Vance was running for the Senate at the time, and Jack Murphy had a decent-sized audience. And so JD went on there because that's the kind of, I hate to say this, the kind of quality that right-wingers value. Why? I don't know. There was nothing about Jack Murphy that I ever was like, yeah, that guy makes a lot of sense. But even I know who Jack Murphy is. For those of you who don't know, Jack Murphy, his career got ended. What was it? A $5 joke or a $3 super chat that just asked him about, I don't even remember what the controversy was, but some controversy that's been haunting him for years. It was about him being a cuck, right? And he loses his shit on Sydney Watson on her show. Was it a $1 super chat? I don't remember. I'd have to watch it again. But he loses his fucking mind. And because he went after Sydney Watson, who was a darling at the time, all of his history starts coming out. And Jack has a hell of a history, including the story that they're talking about here, where they called him pro-rape. Now, we're going to look at the article that this is based on because everybody is just quoting this one part here. Under the pseudonym, because Murphy's not his actual name, it's Goldman. Yeah, John Goldman. Under the pseudonym, Murphy once stated in a now deleted blog post, which has been quoted in multiple outlets, that, quote, behind even the most ardent feminist facade is a deep desire to be dominated and even degraded. And that, quote, rape is the best therapy for the problem. Feminists need rape. Now, I didn't remember the exact quotes from this, so I had to go look it up. And if we're being generous, he's talking about rape. He's absolutely talking about rape. We can't even be generous in this situation. It is, here's the archive of it, because the archive still exists. It says, do feminists have rape fantasies, by Jack Murphy, October 19th, 2015. And this is something that we do need to stop and mention. At the time JD Vance goes on with Jack Murphy, all of this shit is buried. Jack spent a lot of time, Jack Murphy, not our Jack, Apex Predator Jack, spent a lot of time burying all of this shit. And if anybody brought it up, they were deleted, and he just keep it buried. So the more disgusting parts of what he said were hidden. Remember, this is 6 years before, almost 6 years exactly before JD Vance even goes on the show. So the chance of JD Vance knowing this is, I hate saying chance and Vance together. I hate accidentally rhyming. But the chance of him knowing this and being like, yeah, fuck that, we like the rape, is slim to none, and Slim left town. But anyway, the, the actual part is down here. It says, I assure you, behind even the most ardent feminist facade is a deep desire to be dominated, even degrading. Their constant refrains otherwise belie an underlying self-hate. But fear not, there is a solution. Rape! Apex Predator Jack Murphy, yo. And he goes on to say, not quite rape, but rape. The kind of rape a man who loves his girl commits. All right. Just in case anybody needs to hear this, nobody who loves their girl is raping them. Okay. This is, you can't even defend this shit. You can't even be like, no, what he was talking about was aggressive. No. The kind of rape you do when you love your girl. Oh man, revisiting Jack Murphy. Rape conducted under the auspice of consent. That's not rape then, dumbass. Rape safe enough to allow the feminist to begin to claw her way back from the insanity. It was when I read that line that I remembered reading this so long ago. So long ago. You see, rape is the best therapy for the problem. Feminists need rape. When a man and woman tap into the power of rape, when a man and a woman I can't even read it. All right. When a man and a woman tap into the power of rape, they connect to the fundamental truth about our two sexes. We can kill you. It should bother you that this guy, that's where he goes when he's talking about, sex with the woman that you love. It's like, just remember, I can kill you. All right, look, I'm no feminist. I hate feminism, but this is stupid. This is stupid. And for anybody who's bringing up BDSM and all that stuff, no, that is not rape, because you have the power of, your safe word. It is consensual. There's no rape. Rape's a very specific thing. There's no half rape, okay? Anyway, we don't talk about Rekieta's can of worms. Oh God, I was just laughing at Jack Murphy again. Sorry, and bringing up that JD Vance did not know who Jack Murphy was. Most of Jack Murphy's followers didn't know who Jack Murphy was. So it would be nice if the press could just be fair about it. Yes, technically he went on a podcast with somebody who was pro rape, but the dude hit it. So this is literally a rape fantasy / a rape kink. No. When you get to the point where you're pointing out, I can kill you, he's no longer talking about kink or fantasy. He's talking about she didn't want it, but she needed it. That is rape. We will not be excusing Mr. Jack Murphy, apex predator, around here. Anyhow, so Rekieta, Rekieta has, through his lawyer, filed a motion to keep his trial from being publicized. Was it Massive who sent that to me? Yeah, Massive Understatement sent that to me. And I went and read it. We're not going to pull it up on the screen because it's on Kiwi Farms, and I'm not opposed to Kiwi Farms, but the way that it's presented is a pain in the ass to read, and I don't want to download it. So the long and short of it is that Rekieta, because his kid might have to testify, I don't know why the child would have to testify, but in Minnesota law, it can't be recorded if a minor. It can't be recorded, either audio or video if a child testifies, which is fine. That part can be like, okay, we're not recording this part. The rest of it can be. And Nick's his lawyer basically argues that the first person who asked for this is a pedophile, a guy who had CP. They actually include the guy in the filing. Some random person who claims to be from Kiwi Farms. It's not Josh Moon. It's Jason something, some name I've never heard of before. But that shows that they just want to look at the kids. Like, what the fuck are you even talking about? And there's no public interest in it. And Nick can't get a fair trial. And somehow showing the trial would be even less of a fair trial. I don't fucking know. It's just him trying to hide his shit. Now, as far as I know, the judge hasn't ruled on that yet. I didn't read through the full thread, so maybe they have. But the fact Rekieta, a man who made his name basically off of watching trials, a lot of it came from before you actually had video. I mean, he was building a name for himself as a legal expert on YouTube. But what really blows him up is the Rittenhouse trial and the Johnny Depp trial and actually watching trials. But now, hey, this is my trial. And in Josh Moon's filing asking that this be recorded or that he be allowed to record it, he says that he reached out to Nick and Nick didn't answer. So he's going to assume that Nick still believes that trials should be broadcast. And Nick's lawyer's response is, that's a hell of a stretch because neither the defendant's minor children nor any other minors were involved in any of those cases. I don't remember Nick clarifying that he believed that trials should be broadcast unless there might be a child witness at some point. I don't remember that. Maybe, and I haven't watched all of Nick's content, so maybe he did make that clarification at some point. Nick, a hypocrite? You don't say. I know, cannibalistic, right? But just allow it to be recorded. What he's trying to do here, and please understand this, it's not just to hide his shame. It's that no matter the outcome, now he can claim that dirty shit happened behind the scenes because you don't get to see it. You didn't see how they treated me in there. Or if he wins, you didn't see how we just destroyed them. It's literally just a way to control the narrative. Yeah, that shit should be broadcast, Nick. Stop being a hypocrite, man. You should be the one asking for it with the exception of saying if a child has to testify, that part doesn't make it out there. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. He's trying to save face. He's being a Robert Barnes here. Again, if it's never broadcast, if there's no recording of this, he gets to tell us exactly what happened. And we have to believe it. Sure, we might be able to get the transcripts later, but by then, who's really going to be even paying attention anymore? He gets to set the entire narrative of how things happen. There's a lot that transcripts don't catch. Tone, for instance, right? All right. Thank you, JD Vance. To be fair, I only went on a podcast that advocated men shoving rubber cocks up their asses. My opponent advocates the real thing. By the way, you're welcome for that reminder. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't want to. There's a lot of dirty stuff about Jack Apex Predator Murphy. And, I mean, the story about him sending his wife off to sleep with another man and then she came home and he peed on her to assert dominance. That is a real thing, guys. For anybody who wasn't here for the stories, that really happened. Because apparently letting your wife be bred by another dude doesn't count if you pee on her when she gets home. Like you're a dog marking your territory. Oh, man. We had so much fun with that story. because that guy's a douchebag and emblematic of what is wrong with so many of the red pillars in the manosphere. Now I realize there's going to be at least one person in the audience who's going to get mad about that statement. However, of the ones who end up making it big and making a name for themselves, almost universally, they are really shitty people, like incredibly shitty people. All right. Donald Trump is back on Twitter. It's official. He's come back to Twitter, not just for the conversation with Elon the other day. His Twitter account, Donald J. Trump, the real Donald J. Trump. Sorry, it's just real Donald J. Trump if you're looking for it. He's active on Twitter. And he reposted an AI dance of him and Elon dancing together. I just want to bring this up. I love the video. The dance is really fun. Do we care about monetization tonight? I think we do, so we can't watch it because of the audio in it. Go ahead and share it. There we go. What makes me laugh about this is that in the original video, because this is an AI rendering over top of a real video. The guy that's Trump here is a white guy, and the guy that is Elon is a black guy, and it just made me laugh that they made Elon the black guy since he is actually African. And I don't know if they did that on purpose or not, but I hope whoever did this did it that way on purpose, just to piss off lefties. But anyway, you know what? I'll throw that into chat if anybody wants to watch it. I love watching people dance. It's set to Staying Alive. Some of the Staying Alive dances out there are really fucking fun to watch. Whoops, there we go. There you go. Both people can do it. Just mute the video. I don't like doing that with dance videos because a lot of times the dancing doesn't look right without it. I mean, I suppose we could do that. But you should watch it with the video. Oh wait, hang on. In order to make that big, I have to start playing, in which case the music starts playing. So there we go. There. See, it just doesn't work the same without the music playing. But it is a good choreographed dance, and it's funny as shit. I really wish X would change it so I can make the video bigger before I start playing it. I'm just going to let it play. Watch it, you guys. Right there where the jacket turns red on Trump is because in the original video, the guy that's Trump is wearing a red jacket. But anyway, there you go. Trump is back on Twitter, and that is how he announced himself today. I don't care about that story. Don't really care about that. Sorry, guys. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the news today. I was mostly moaning in bed and alone, and not because my hand was having any fun. We got to talk about Ray Gun. This woman won't go away. This is the chick who danced at the Olympics. We're going to call it dancing. And the first thing I want to point out is this is why most women should not wear baseball caps. Most of y'all don't look cute in them. If you see her in the video dancing, she kind of looks like they let her retarded kid. And I'm not being mean here. I mean, she actually kind of has a Downsy look to her. And it's all just with it's the hat. It makes them look better. She's actually a pretty girl. Algerian boxer is suing Musk. He's not, I mean, he might win in Paris, but it's not going to matter. Anyhow, her name is Rachel. Is it Gunner or is it just Rachel Gunn? She goes by Ray Gun. Ray Gun. And she made a 2-minute video discussing I hate calling it the controversy. I don't think it's controversial. The only thing that showed me is that the Olympics are the joke that the opening ceremony showed them to be. I get that dance takes a lot of athletic ability, but it's not a fucking sport. Okay. It's dancing. It's not a sport. It's an activity. Anyhow, that's all it said to me is that, yeah, even the Olympics knows that they're a fucking joke. So when you said ray gun, I thought of Chris. Bubba, when I first saw the name ray gun going around, but when this dance blew up, I thought for some reason, Chris Ray Gun had come back. Faithless says it's art. I'll call it art too. You can call dancing art. Absolutely. It's not a fucking sport though. Just because you're doing it while you puff out your chest at another person doesn't make it a sport. Anyhow.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Ray Gun here.
Hello.
I just want to start by thanking all the people who have supported me.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate the positivity. And
I don't know why people record themselves outdoors. Is that too much background noise? Do I need to turn her down? I'm just curious. I thought the same thing with Chris Ray Gun. Yeah, I feel like we've just been conditioned into that, right? Audio's fine. Okay.
And I'm glad I was able to bring some joy into your lives. That's what I hoped.
You did not hope for the kind of joy you brought into my life. I would love to believe that she's just a massive troll, because if she was, well done. But you seriously thought you could dance. And you are the Olympic version of a white girl who's had too much to drink going out there dancing.
I didn't realize that would also open the door to so much hate, which has frankly been pretty devastating.
I do want to say...
Well, I went out there and I had...
Shut up. I do want to say, don't be hateful to this woman. I get it if you're Australian and your country's been embarrassed and you give her a little bit of shit for that. But don't be hateful to her. She didn't kill anybody. She danced badly at the Olympics. The fact that breakdancing is in the fucking Olympics is the real joke here, okay? Let's just be honest. Breakdancing was an Olympic event. I don't think somebody dancing badly makes that any worse, honestly. You didn't think exposing yourself literally on a world stage would expose you to hate in this world, really? I hear you there, but it doesn't necessarily need to happen that way. Can't we all just laugh at her? Anyway.
Fun. I did take it very seriously.
That's the funniest part. I did take it very seriously. I can do an Aussie accent, but not on command. Just like I can do Bill Clinton. We did that earlier, but not if somebody says, hey, do your Bill Clinton voice.
I worked my butt off preparing for the Olympics, and I gave my all, truly.
Okay. I just want to... Australia, I love you guys. But if this is your best dancer and she gave it her all, or at least one of the best, because, you have your Olympic teams, there's 4 or 5 people. I don't even know how many are on each breaking team. But let's say it's 20. I know it's way lower than that. But let's say it's 20. That's one of your best white girl dancers? Or one of your best dancers, one of your best female dancers? You guys need to get some black people over there to teach y'all how to dance.
I'm honored to have been a part of the Australian Olympic team and to be part of breaking's Olympic debut.
I'm so tired of them calling it breaking too. They're trying to make it cooler than it is. It's breakdancing. It's been around since I was a kid. Calling it break-in so you sound cool is 40 years out of date. I saw, the reason it really irritates me is I saw one of the people defending her was like, I can't believe you guys are being so mean to her. Break-in is a community where we all support each other. When we're breaking, there's no country lines and everybody loves each other. And even if you do it badly in break-in, we're like totally cool with each other. Shut the fuck up, you retarded hippie.
What the other athletes have achieved has just been phenomenal.
Wait, what the other athletes? That makes it, you're counting yourself among athletes. You're a bad dancer.
In regards to the allegations and misinformation floating around, I'd like to ask everyone to please refer to the recent statement made by the AOC, as well as the posts on the Ozbreaking Instagram page, as well as the WDSF Breaking for Gold page.
This is her addressing the allegations that she gamed the system and that her and her husband basically got to pick the team and he was one of the judges. And again, I don't know much about that and I don't really care. It's breakdancing, okay? She, at worst, she got a trip to Paris on the Australian folks' dime to go breakdance badly. That is so far down on the list of problems going on in France that it's or in Australia, sorry, that it's not really worth much mentioning. Raygun, thank you. Did you see Libs of TikTok retweeting of a zoo comparing my moves to a baby kangaroo? Frame by frame, that roo was spot on. I did not, Raygun. Thank you for that donation. Didn't she say her dance was inspired by kangaroos? Honestly, international embarrassment is punishment enough. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Although, again, when it comes to things like national Olympic committees and stuff, there's a lot of corruption you could go for there. How many times have we seen scandals involving Olympic committees and stuff? But either we just go, yeah, they're going to do that and cut them off financially, or we accept that we only care about it once every 4 years, so who gives a shit?
Bit of a fun fact for you. There are actually no points in breaking. If you want to see how the judges thought I compared to my opponents, you can actually see the comparison percentages across the 5 criteria on Olympics.com.
There's no points, but you can go look up her scores. I can't take any more of this woman. I just wanted to play that and say that, look, don't be hateful to her. By all means, laugh at her and mock her because she's earned that, but don't be hateful. Oh, this story. I had completely forgotten about that. Do we want to watch the video? Yeah, fuck it. Let's watch the video. It was reported all over. This one is from Newsmax. I have a reading one, but we've all heard me read, so I don't even want to hit play on this. Our Secret Service, at this point, I would honestly be more shocked to find out they're doing their job than to hear another example of them not doing it. I would, if there was a story that came out and said Secret Service competently does their job, I would be shocked. But there's no limit at this point now where they're going to come out and tell me that the Secret Service is fucking up, where I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm shocked by that.
The Secret Service detail that's guarding former President Donald Trump. So this coming from Real Clear Politics, reporting that a female Secret Service agent abandoned her post in North Carolina to breastfeed her baby during Trump's visit yesterday to the.
Okay. I haven't watched all of this video, so I don't know if it gets brought up, but Trump wasn't there yet. There was a site leader, I forget what exactly they call her, and maybe the story will tell us, but who's doing a check and walking around, and they can't find the chick, and they find her with 2 family members who have not been cleared to be there, She's in a room breastfeeding her baby. It's like 5 minutes before Trump shows up.
Our Hill State. The report says about 5 minutes before Trump's motorcade arrived, the site agent who manages security for the entire event.
Well, there's the part that I do want to pause on. The site agent who oversees the entire thing. Do you remember just a couple of weeks ago where we were told there's nobody in charge? There's not one remember that? But now there's a site agent. I wonder if that's a new change.
The final sweep of the location.
And while walking the route, the site agent reportedly found the Secret Service special agent in question breastfeeding with 2 other family members present in a room that's supposed to be set aside for official business, like an emergency involving the president. The report says the special agent did not have permission to leave her post and gave no warning prior to the event that she needed personal time. Working Secret Service agents are prohibited from bringing children or any family members, for that matter, on a protective assignment.
Yeah, and that part is important. There were 2 adults brought there who had not been cleared. Forget the breastfeeding part of it for a minute. This is the Secret Service. Their job is to keep the president secure, and they're bringing 2 unsecured people. And look, the agent goes, oh, look, I know them. That's fine, but there's a reason we have rules and shit. And this is what I was talking about. At this point, I wasn't even surprised by this. I was not even shocked to hear this. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like the way the Secret Service has been doing stuff. This agent, whose job is to help protect the president, is anybody still questioning how they didn't notice the shooter? Why is a woman who just had a baby fucking working? Well, you see, because we're not allowed to tell women that there's things they can't do. And we can't tell her she needs to use a breast pump if she wants to make sure her baby only has breast milk. No. She is a strong, independent woman, and you will completely conform society to her will, because that's how we have to do it. I'd have men as my guardian, no offense. Well, you don't get a choice. You do not get that choice. It's up to, and especially for Trump. Maybe as the president, you could do it, but as the former president, you can't.
All right, still working on clarification and details on this, that coming from the reporter for RCP. And it comes about a month after what many consider.
And then it just gets into the assassination. But, I mean, is anybody shocked by this? Is anybody shocked that a Secret Service agent left her goddamn post to go give booby milk to her baby and brought unsecured people into the location that is literally the room set aside in case there's a problem with the president? Let's say the president is shot at or trips and breaks his leg or anything bad. That's what that room was for. And they're like, no, this is for titty milk. All real milk is titty milk, if we're being honest. Almond milk, almonds don't have titties. Stop calling it that, please. It's almond juice, and we all know it. Anyhow, that one we basically already covered. All right, and we are done with the news stories that I brought up tonight. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Anything y'all want to talk about? Because honestly, I didn't do much today. I laid in bed a lot. No, it's just nut juice. That's exactly what it is. It's nut juice. Stop drinking nut juice. Look, I'm glad for the people who can't have real milk because there are people who have, lactate problems and stuff. But lactate problems? Oh, it sounds like you can't. My aunt actually had lactation problems. She almost starved my cousin to death. When he was little, he would latch on and he would suck, but he wasn't getting any milk, and he was losing weight. And they're like, "Doctor, what's going on?" And so they did some kind of test and realized she wasn't actually producing any milk. So the poor kid almost starved to death. It's okay. He's an asshole now. He's always nice to me, but in his personal life, he's got some issues. Oh my God. Anything else that you guys want to go over? Etha and Gila did the same thing with their. Did they? I didn't know that one. I'm just scrolling to see if there was anything important I missed. Look, I can talk for hours about stuff, just randomly. On the fourth consecutive night of writing, they're talking about Tim Walz and how bad he was. I've seen talk of him being replaced, and I don't know how they'd really do that. Oh, Dangerous, thank you so much. The most frustrating part is Australia earned the 4th most gold and 5th most medals overall, but all people are talking about is that bitch. By the way, she looks like she was inspired by cerebral palsy. You're not wrong. Remember when I said the hat made her look retarded? This is an old reference, but for those of you who used to watch Facts of Life, I think it was a Blair's cousin. They brought on that actually retarded, the chick who had, was it just cerebral palsy? But she was a retarded comedian, and that's who she looks like with the hat on. So anyway, yeah, she did look retarded. I don't see them replacing Walz. It's certainly not this quickly. I mean, if they're going to do it, they need to do it now because the convention does come up in a couple of days. And boy, are we going to have some fun with that. Talk about your perfect casting for live action Red Dead. Ugh. You know, the thing is, I don't know enough actors these days to say. I mean, my perfect Arthur would have to be like 70s era Clint Eastwood. So maybe his son could pull it off. And it depends on which version of Jack Marston you're going with, or sorry, John Marston. If you're talking about Red Dead 2, where at the beginning of it, he looks like a reject from a rock and roll band in the 80s, like he should have been in a hair band. Or if you're going with the more scruffy version of him that's in Red Dead 1. Yeah, I don't know enough actors these days because I don't pay that much attention. Wes, your mom turns 92 tomorrow? Damn. Happy birthday to her. That is a long, long life. May we all get there. They make Arthur The Rock and John Kevin Hart, probably. And it's why I don't really want them to make it. I do, because I would love to see it. I would love a movie to watch that's based on it. And yeah, you could cut out a whole bunch of stuff, but I know what they would do to it. I watched several more things about the Borderlands movie today. I was just like, no. Frank, thank you so much. Curious as a former manager, your thoughts, multiple parts. Official rules, no cell phone use on the clock. Second break for my shift is 2 to 10. Most of the shops in my country turn a blind eye to both rules, provided we get our work done. Okay, as a manager, and I realize I'm old school on this, and thank you for the donation, Frank. And you don't have to donate for the rest of that. You could put it in chat. I don't like people using their phones when they're on the clock. I have no problem with you having your phone with you. And if it vibrates in your pocket and you quickly look just to make sure there's not an emergency and put it away, that's fine. But I see way too many people just goofing off on their phones. And when I worked in an office, it was so much worse than it even was on the floor at like Walmart, where cell phones were really just becoming a thing everybody had. Blair, thank you so much. God damn it, Monk. Now I have the alternate opening for Facts of Life in my head. Share my pain. You take the you take the black, you take the white, you take the fat, you take the dyke, the facts of life. The facts. I've never heard that. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. You go and show, you know, and now you go. Anyway, I love the Facts of Life theme song. It's one of my favorites. It's so catchy. All right. Sorry, there's another donation from Frank loading up. Thank you so much, Frank. Typically, our breaks are 30 minutes. They let us use our phones so road services are easier. Fleet diesel mechanic. and they can get a hold of us easier when they need. I work Sunday through Thursday, third coming. I do think cell phone usage, it should be conditional on the job that you have. Like if you're a security guard and your job is to watch some cameras, and every like hour you have to do a pass around the building, and then you come back and you sit down and you watch cameras that you're not even really watching, and you sit there and you play on your phone. I don't really give a shit as long as nobody breaks in, right? But in the jobs that I've had, they've mostly been customer oriented, right? So you need to be available to them and not on your goddamn phone. I'm having too much fun with AI writing. Shit is addictive. Oh, it really is. Superman with Down syndrome was a personal favorite. JB, what AI program are you using? Grok is actually really fun. I was surprised by how far it's come since it was introduced. I used it for the first time today. They just introduced Grok 2.0, which included their art generator. Travis Gardner, thank you. Probably not interesting to anyone else, but our state superintendent of schools is ignoring our FOIA laws, and the attorney general, after millions of dollars are missing from state budgets and could be impeached. What state are we talking about, Travis? I have not heard anything about this. It's a phone, and no one uses that as a phone, only as a device. Yeah, people use it as their little personal computers because that's what they actually are. Need to start playing with AI more. AI is fun. It really is. My favorite argument I've had on the internet in the last probably 2 years was the one that I had with Google's AI. Over on the Streamlabs, thank you again, Frank. I'm dragging this out so we can get through all of Frank's stuff, and then we'll get on to other things. Thank you, Frank. I was the only mechanic who showed up, worked to fix more than normal. I was sitting at the end of the garage at second break. It was 2:25 when I'm asking about. Was charging my phone and watching YouTube. Got back at 2:30. I have a feeling. Did you get reprimanded for using your phone? This is the guy that appointed Libs of TikTok to the state advisory board. I missed if you said what state it was. Hang on. Oklahoma. Oh, you got a bunch of money missing, do you? That's the problem with FOIA. That's Freedom of Information Act, guys. The problem with it is it's still dependent on just because the court says, hey, you have to share that, government is like, no. What are they going to do? You need somebody. How is it going to be enforced? So, to be fair, AI gives you a better conversation than Ohio or whatever the drunk's name is. I just enjoyed it because I was trying to convince it that it can lie, and it was doing everything but admitting it could lie, and testing your logic skills versus a computer is fun. It's kind of like for a chess grandmaster who plays against a computer. I'm not saying I'm a grandmaster of logic, but I am pretty good at it. But it's kind of like them playing against a computer. I was playing a game against the computer. Oh, Ufio. Yes. Said Ohio. Okay, yeah, Ufio. That guy's a fucking retard, man. I haven't seen him in a long time. He went away, and I haven't checked on him, so I don't know if he's even still on YouTube or on Twitter. His little protege still pops up from time to time, Miss Erin Green, and she just shows up to remind me that she has pillows with my face on it that she humps. She hates me joking about that. I asked her how many she had, and she wouldn't say, so I'm assuming it's several. Thank you, Frank. So a company vehicle drives by, makes a U-turn, parks near me. Occupant makes small talk. I ask if he needs help. He says no, drives away. It was weird. Told my foreman, turns out he was a higher up in the company and demanded I get written up, and I was. Were you on your break when they stopped? Your breaks are at 2 and 2:10, and your breaks are 30 minutes. This was at 2:25. If you're on your break, I don't give a fuck if you're using your phone. That's what your break is for. As a manager, if you're on your break, yeah, I don't give a shit what you're doing. As long as you're not doing drugs or alcohol or, harming somebody. Light says, thank you. Aussie Land has a TV show called Kath and Kim. This break dance belongs on an episode of it. I'm not familiar. Sinatra's laugh in your debate with Ufio still cracks me up. That is one of the greatest moments ever on the internet. I'm just going to say it. When I asked Ufio how often he's drunk when he's tweeting, and there's just a dead silence. And it lasts for like 4 or 5 seconds, and then Sinatra just fucking lost it, and it was great. Let that be a lesson to you too. If you decide you want to debate me, I will do research. And I'd done research on Ufio because he's been on streams before. He'd been drunk on streams, and he talked about how drunk he normally is when he's on the internet. The whole thing about him being an alcoholic wasn't a joke. He really is an alcoholic who's ruined his whole life with alcohol. Travis Gardner, thank you. The state has an Open Records and Meeting Act. Not responding to requests within 90 days is a violation. The state attorney general sent an open letter and requested a meeting. He ignored the AG, and now it will be going before a grand jury. Good, because and that's what I was talking about with an open records request, with the Freedom of Information Act request. If the government ignores it, the only way anything happens is if the attorney general gets involved. Or if you're talking about on a more local scale, maybe you're talking about your mayor's ignoring a FOIA request, and then it can be handled. It can be handled at a more local level. But if the other politicians don't uphold the law, it's kind of meaningless. And how many times have we seen FOIA requests honored? I'm using giant air quotes when I say that, but half of it is redacted. And the redactions aren't anything necessary. They're not protecting state secrets. Oh no, we can't use that guy's name. Thank you, Frank. They justified the time of break, saying I was working past the normal break time, but I still got a write-up for watching YouTube on break. My director said he had no choice. Official break is 10 minutes, but the lower management gives longer to make us happy. I understand you being frustrated with it, Frank, but this is one of those times, unless it severely impacts your work, where I would tell you to choose your battles. If technically you were breaking the rules, just take the slap on the hand and don't let it happen again. This is something I ran into a lot at Walmart, where somebody would get in trouble for something they did. Someone would get in trouble for something they did, and they would come to me and go, Frank, I got in trouble. I had a reputation for being the one that if you had a problem with what was done with the rules, I knew all the rules. I knew how to break them. Yeah, I'm going into air supply here. I know all the rules, and then I know how to break them, and I always know the name of the game. Anyway, so they would come to me and like, I got in trouble for breaking this rule, and nobody else gets in trouble for it. And like, I hear you, but if you did actually break the rules, there's no getting around that part. They are the rules. Just because they're not always enforced, unless you're going to take it to an actual legal arbitration, there's not much you can do. They are the rules, and your best bet is to just always stay within the rules, even if they are allowing other people to get away with it, because you never know when that shit's going to come back and bite you in the ass. Travis Gardner, thank you. One account was made of donations to help families buy inhalers for students, and well, it hasn't been spent or found. Shocking. The government taking money that was meant to help people? No. Monk, is that as good as 7 Spanish Angels? I love Making Love Out of Nothing at All. It's one of my favorite songs ever. And part of that might be from when I was a kid, because we used to have dances in our neighborhood. Plus, you know, your school dances and stuff. And that was always one that would play. And people only danced at slower songs because we were all little white kids. We couldn't dance. So I danced a lot to that song when I was younger. One of my favorite times was with this girl named Crystal. And I believe her name was Crystal. Now I'm questioning my own memory. But she is literally the one that taught me the joy of dancing with a girl in a sweater. And if you've never done it, you don't know. But if you have, you know. How old was I at the time? I was maybe 10, maybe 11. I was like, I kind of like this. This is nice. And it was a really soft sweater too. Divine Petulance, thank you. Everybody's got a special kind of story. Everybody finds a way to shine. It don't matter that you got not a lot. So what? They'll have theirs, you'll have yours, and I'll have mine. And together we'll be fine. Are we just doing opening songs tonight? Fuck, which one is that? Good Times? I can hear it in my head, but I don't remember which show that's from. Didn't work this time. He's immune to it. No, it's that there's other songs playing in my head right now. Are you an REO Speedwagon fan? Oh, yes. Oh, definitely yes. Oh, that's Different Strokes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, fuck, the words should have given that away. It's all about how people are different. Different Strokes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't remember that theme song as well as one like Facts of Life. REO Speedwagon. They have about 4 or 5 songs that I really, really love, and they're on my playlist. And when they come on, you don't want to be around because I'm going to sing it really loud. Got NSYNC in your head? I was listening to NSYNC yesterday. NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. I wasn't technically listening to them. They were playing while I was making dinner. I had my phone up there with me and was listening to it. And Bye 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 came on. And is the song called Backstreet's Back? I don't remember, but it came on. And I don't know the words enough to either of them to sing them. But I was dancing. Knight Rider was my favorite, then A-Team. But neither of those really have words. I mean, the Knight Rider opens up with, you know, the shadowy look into the world of a man who does not exist. But neither of those have words, and I like songs that sing. I like lyrics. I'm okay. It's probably why I don't like video game music. Because most of it is just, besides being highly fucking annoying, it's instrumental. And instrumental is fine for what it is, but if I'm seeking something out, I want something with lyrics in it. Everybody, yeah, rock your body. Yeah. My wife comes out because she had been working and she finished, and she comes out as that song is starting. And she goes, "Are you listening to Backstreet Boys?" And I'm like, "I don't fucking know." Because at the beginning of it, there's music that's not in the rest of the song, so I didn't recognize it right away. But I did sing the chorus and I did dance a lot. And in case you were wondering, no, my dancing did not get any worse when I became crippled. It's literally impossible to tell the difference. That's how bad I dance. Pumpkin Trucker, thank you. This is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because. Lyrics are weird when you just say them, aren't they? Oh my God. Your hair approves. Look, I don't make any apologies for the songs that I like. This is what I tell people all the time. I don't care what you think of my taste in music or movies or anything like that. And you shouldn't care what I think. So many people, just to give you an example, and I'm not hanging around to dry or anything, but SDA. Me and her were talking one night. There we go. Me and her talking one night, and we're talking about music and stuff. And she will not tell me the name of this one band she likes, and I forget what it is. And I went and listened to them, and it was fine music. But apparently it wasn't cool, and she didn't want to get made fun of if I was going to make fun of her for it. I'm like, you shouldn't care. If you enjoy it, why the fuck do you care if other people don't? I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy who cares about being into popular stuff. If I like it, I really couldn't care less if you do or not. Now, if you lie about it, then we'll have an argument, and we can have fun arguments about whether it's gay or not, or stupid or not. But in all reality, I've never had people go, "Oh, that's really uncool," and be like, "Oh my god, I can't do that anymore. It's uncool." Because I'm not gonna pretend to enjoy shit you like so that you'll think I'm cool. Because I would much rather just enjoy myself. I like a few Carpenter songs, not ashamed. I like a few Carpenter songs, not many though. And with the Carpenters, it's not even that I don't like their style of music. It's that Karen Carpenter's voice is so high pitched. I have a hard time listening to high pitched singers. Frank, thank you. I took the discipline step, but it was lower than the higher ups wanted. Still pissed. Oh, I don't blame you for being pissed about it, Frank. Trust me, I understand. But this is where you do have to be honest with yourself. And I'll read the rest of what you said there. But you got to be honest with yourself about the rules. And if it was a technical violation, you just got to make sure you don't do it again. You can't give them a reason. Look, I was actually fired by Walmart. That's how much they wanted to get rid of me and were forced to take me back. That I had to walk the tightrope of making sure I did not violate any of the rules. And yes, I watch people violate the rules constantly in ways that if I had done it, they would have fired me and I wouldn't have been able to get my job back. But anyway, thank you, Frank. I took the discipline step because it was lower than the higher up wanted. Still pissed. They want us to use our phones for GPS to get to broken down vehicles or calling the shop if we're with a broken down mechanic and need a tow. But then this is on break. Yeah, if you're on break, I would, how do I say this? If you're on your break, I feel like I would try to have a rational conversation with the higher ups, even if it doesn't go anywhere. Just like I don't understand why when we're on a break, we're not allowed to use it's my break, it's my time. Why are we not allowed to use it in a way that's not harming anybody? But even then, it would depend on how much I really cared about watching it. Just saying. I get you, I do, but believe me, I've had to walk that tightrope because I was a straight up jackass to the Walmart managers. I don't blame them for hating me, honestly, except for that one guy, Tim, because I never did shit to him. Oh, and Alan, Tim and Alan. I just realized that those two assholes worked together and their names were Tim and Alan. Huh? I never did anything to either of them, and both of them pulled me. Tim one time pulls me into the office to talk about my bad attitude, and when I demanded he give me examples, he couldn't. And it eventually got to the point where I told him, I either give me an example or I'm leaving this office. And he couldn't give me an example, so I'm like, all right. And I turned around and left, and nothing else came from it. And then he got transferred, and before he could actually leave, he killed himself because his wife cheated on him. True story. Where are we? I have some Avril Lavigne songs in my list. There's some Avril Lavigne that I like. I like a lot of different kinds of music. I really do. Was he unattractive? Alan was very unattractive. Tim wasn't. He wouldn't catch your attention. He wasn't ugly or handsome. He was just there. He was that kind of guy. The moral of the story. Okay, the moral of that story. Actually, the only reason I bring that up is because it was a very traumatic moment for me. It made the store manager hate me when that guy killed himself. Because I was so happy he was leaving the store. I really was. It's announced on a Friday. He's leaving the store. He's been promoted to go to another store. And I was openly jovial about it. And then Monday morning we come in and we hear that he killed himself. And they didn't tell us he killed himself either. They just told us he died. And I laughed. I didn't mean to laugh, but the irony of what just happened hit me. I was no longer allowed to be happy he was leaving the store. And so, yeah, that moment I laughed. And the manager shot me this look of death. And I get why, but it was one of those things where I couldn't help it. Because my brain immediately went, I can't even be happy. He's gone now. Yeah. 93 was good for music. I think music was, for me, the best music times probably from 85 through maybe 2005. So he did leave the store in the end. Yeah, you know the really fucked up part about it? His wife cheated with one of her Walmart coworkers. I'm not laughing at him dying. I'm laughing at her cheating. Yeah. Some bag boy or something. I laughed when Susie Wiki kicked the bucket. Same with Feinstein and RBG. I mean, I can see laughing. My problem with, and I don't even have a problem, after it's, give the family a couple of days. Not that they're listening to us, but just a couple of days. And then if you want to, make fun of them, have at it. The tale as old as time, yeah. We had a captain that threw a party the day after she was no longer in command. We got in trouble for that. That's fucking awesome. Most of the other times people left. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some managers who liked me. The other one, this guy, Alan, so I told you about Tim. Tim calls me into the office for my bad attitude and can't give me any examples of it. I went to Alan because Walmart institutes this new stupid ass policy where we have to track literally everything in the building at all times. We had to go in and label our bins. The bins are where you keep stuff in the back room. Had to label it and how many are in each box, and you got to make sure that it's all right. And if you put anything in there, got to make sure you put the label and all. And I come in and none of my stuff or a bunch of the stuff in my bins doesn't have labels. Now, the day before, I had audited my entire department. Everything was labeled. I know it because I did it every Thursday afternoon. And so I go to I go to Alan. I'm like, Alan, I made sure yesterday everything was done. And I come in today and there's a whole bunch of boxes in here. Somebody overnight isn't doing their job. Somebody's putting stuff in the bins without labeling it. And he starts yelling at me. He starts yelling at me for the problems I cause. I'm like, I'm doing what you want done, prick. And up until that point, me and him never had an issue. After that point, I did everything I could to torture that man. This is a cool chat. I have a vague memory of this monkey. I have talked about these stories a couple of times because the Walmart stories, they were a lot of fun. What a psycho. Alan was a redhead. Does that give you an idea of what he was? I mean, he was a soulless ginger. He was the kind of ginger that when you looked at him, ugh. They're gingers who look kind of normal. They just have red hair. But no, this was the kind you're like, you eat babies, don't you? You eat babies. Yeah. I did have a lot of fun at Walmart though. And again, there were a lot of managers I had fun with. I made one of them cry and I didn't even do anything. She was told she had to give me my eval and it made her cry because she thought I was going to be mean to her. But here's what you got to know about me. I'm very self-aware and honest about myself. And so when I'd go into evaluations, even if you think I'm a jackass and you say, hey, you didn't do this well, I'd be like, you're right. I didn't do that part well. I'll argue for it if I think you're wrong and I'll give you examples, but I'm very honest about it. So I'm not mean when it came to that, but she was so worried about it because of my reputation for being mean to managers. Monkey, they were just threatened by your hair. Okay. Exactly, Eagle. You're an honest asshole. I am. I'm very honest about myself, and I'm also a jackass. Did you just make a Red Dead Sasquatch mission reference? Yes, I did, Kyle. Well caught. You eat babies. No, we eat nuts and berries. I still haven't played all the way through Red Dead. Retro was kind enough to sponsor me getting that, but I still haven't played it all the way through. I have trouble with the controls on the Switch. I need to get myself a controller and play it on the TV so I can finish the thing. Because it does come with Red Dead and Red Dead Nightmare. It sounds like you were just mean to people that were being dickheads. I was. If you were kind to me, I was kind to you. But a lot of the managers at Walmart, and I haven't worked many other places to know if it works out this way, but they got a big head about being managers, and those were the ones I couldn't stand. One of my favorite people that I ever worked with was a store manager because he was a down to earth guy who was more concerned about selling things than bullshit. What my least favorite people were also managers. My favorite was the one who came in and I was still a early department manager at this point. I'd only been a department manager maybe a year, and she came in and told us in no uncertain terms that things were going to be her way and nobody was going to push her around. And she like almost immediately wrote up one of the lifers, and it took less than a month for the department managers to force that chick to leave. By just following the rules and insisting on the rules being followed to the T. Thank you, Travis Gardner. My boss is trying to buy the franchise I used to work at. The customer service rep there is a cunt, and I hate her with a passion. Ask the boss if he can fire her if he gets the other office. That would be some interesting stuff. How are you doing with 7 Days to Die 1.0 now? I haven't played it since I've last played it on stream. I did. Wait, that's not true. I jumped in for maybe 2 or 3 hours one night, and I don't like a lot of the changes to the game. Not to the point where it doesn't make me ever want to play it again, but it changes the gameplay so much where, I mean, you're almost forced to use guns, which I'm not a big fan of. And yeah, that's mostly what it is. I don't mind using guns, and especially later on, it's fine using them. But early in the game, you shouldn't be so forced to be using guns. I've been playing 7 Days with Moonshock and Son. They're good folks. I hope you're having fun with them. Oh, I still hate the books being needed. Me too. And that's probably the biggest issue with it. I don't like the book system. And I don't like the arbitrary. I don't want to necessarily call it arbitrary, but the gating of stuff behind the books is just made to drag shit out while they're also kind of forcing you to. It feels like they've taken a game that gave you a bunch of freedom and tried forcing you into a play style. And I don't like that. It's not for me. And it's not one of those times where I'm like, oh, they need to change the game to fit me. I'm fine with walking away from it. There's other games I'll play. I played a whole bunch of No Man's Sky recently because they just had an update to it. And they had a new, what do they call them? Not seasons. I forget what they call their little month-long trials. Basically, it's a seasonal thing where when you do it, you get special rewards and stuff. And I went through and did that. Also, the gatekeeping of how fast you can tier up on quests. Yeah, that's one that happened after I stopped playing it online. And me and Satsu were talking. And I asked him, like, did you see the change they made here? And he's like, what change is that? And I told him they made it so you can't do more than 3 quests in a day. Well, you can do more than 3 quests. But to get to your next tier, you have to do 10 quests, and you can only 3 of them each day count. So minimum of 4 days to get to the next tier. And you need to get to the next tier to get better gear. So by the time your first horde comes around, you can only be at level 3, and that's dickish. Tear up, it made you cry, pussy? No, not tear. Tear. Teir, Tier. I'm not good at spelling. But I've cried at things before. Do you still disagree with the complaints about the Mass Effect 3 ending? I disagree with you on this. I think the original Mass Effect 3 ending was fine. Yeah. And you know what? It's one of the things I really love about Red Dead, because Red Dead 2, the number of people who look at it, one of my favorite reactions I saw was this older guy. And when I say older, I mean even older than me. This guy's got to be late 50s, early 60s. And he's this grizzled looking motherfucker. And he's playing through Red Dead. And when Arthur dies, he just kind of gets quiet. He says, I just need a moment. And he gets up and walks away, and he comes back. And so then he plays through Red Dead, and he didn't know the story of either of them. And at the end of Red Dead, for those who don't know, John dies. John's brutally murdered by the Pinkertons. And he gets angry, absolutely angry. It's like, that is not just. That is not a just ending. I think that a lot of people look for the happy ending in stories. They want some kind of redemption, or they want Shepard to live. They want something that makes them feel hopeful at the end of it. I don't think all stories need to be that way. Mass Effect 3 Director's Cut was an extension. Same outcome, just written better. The complaints were the writing primarily. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. I know that the writing was part of it, and that they didn't like how quickly it ended. But what made them happy was the 3 alternate endings, one of which where you get to see Shepard take his breath. No, Shepard's dead. Shepard's dead. He died, and he should have died. The problem with Mass Effect 3 ending was that your choice did not matter and did not make sense. Well, Mass Effect kind of screwed themselves in that regard, because when they first announced Mass Effect, it's this role-playing game that you have lots of choices, and choices that are going to matter. And by the time you get to 3, Mass Effect is not really a role-playing game. Mass Effect is a first-person shooter with a couple of role-playing elements on it. And you can't have a story. This is when it comes to video games, unless you're going to do like the original Fallout 1 and 2 did, you're not going to be able to have massive game-changing choices. You're going to have 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 choices, but everything's going to lead the same way if you're playing a story-driven game. The amount of time and effort that would need to go into something like what people basically want to choose your own adventure kind of thing would necessarily have to shorten the game. No one asked for that. Just don't write that garbage. Bullshit. Nobody asked for that. Sure, some people complained about Shepard dying, but that being the main focus was BioWare gaslighting. I was there, homie. Never delved into Mass, wanted to. I love Mass Effect. I think it's a great story. Don't play past Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 2 is my favorite of the trilogy. 1 is a great game, especially if you get the updated version of it. Fight me in Knoxville, old man. We can do it, understatement. You and me, man. You and me. But no, the updated version of Mass Effect 1, the original version of it, the loading screens are interminable, and they're annoying as fuck. And when they did the Legendary Edition recently, they cleaned that all up so it goes a lot faster, and it's a lot better game because of it. Gameplay wise, it was always fun, but the amount of times you have to go between different areas, and in every goddamn one there was loading that had to happen, was just fucking annoying. 2 is my favorite. Although I think Ashley, Kieran or whatever his name is, he died. I don't care what anybody says. If you chose him to keep alive at the end of Mass Effect 1, then you're wrong. So Ashley did dirty for the rest of the series. She should have been brought in as a more relevant character, considering she's so much a part of the first one. But they kind of did that with Amanda in 2. With as much as she's a part of the game in 2, she should have a bigger part in 3 than just a passing side quest. Same with Jack. That is my biggest problem with 3. You built up all of these character relationships over the years, and then the fan service they gave to him was just kind of sad. Anybody remember the Morrowind loading screens on Xbox? Oh, I died. Well, I guess I'm done for the day. I never played it on Xbox. By the time Morrowind comes out, I'm a PC gamer. Caden, that's his name, Caden. I saved Caden. Ashley is a racist. How dare you? You picked Jack, didn't you? I know. Yeah, I absolutely picked Jack. She was crazy. Look, they gave me a crazy lady to be a love interest. Of course, I went with her. I called my wife crazy the other day, and she just kind of laughed. I'm like, what? I like crazy women. I loved Jack. Me too, man. Andromeda could have been good. It could have been. The problem with Andromeda, it wasn't even the wokey bullshit in it. It was just a bad game. She got soft at the end of 2 and 3. She got closure at the end of 2, and they just turned her into kind of your weird. They do this in movies and stuff. You know, you have somebody who has Jack has a tortured past. For those of you who never played the game, literally, she was tortured as a child, and makes her insane. And you help her deal with that. And then in 3, she's in charge of children and teaching them to use their psychic powers. And she's kind of a meanie, but she's also the soft-hearted. She's Mrs. Garrett for, we were talking about Different Strokes earlier. And Facts of Life. Mrs. Garrett was in both. Maybe that is the linchpin of my life, Mrs. Garrett. Anyhow, they kind of ruined Jax. They should have left her kind of crazy. If they were going to do something like that, she should have been like in some army position where she's dealing with real people. Tally, you like a girl that'll fall apart. Yeah, who was it said Tally is waifu? I like Tally. I have played through with her as the love interest. Who's the blue girl? Not Samara. That's the other blue girl. What's her name? I can see her. She's the blue girl. I played through it. She's another one that kind of got robbed in 2 because she's a major player in 1. She kind of Liara. That's it. Thank you. Liara gets basically sidelined for 2. You have the side missions that you do with her, and she's kind of back for 3. This is the problem with the number of people they kept introducing. You have this major story with them in 1, or a major story with them in 2, and then 3 comes along, and they're just like, "Hi, I still exist." And I'm like, yeah, it would have been better off to not even show them anymore. Just leave them as a person they knew. Who's the oh fuck, I forget what they're called. The big turtle frog looking guys. What are they called? Shit, I forget the races in there. I think the only one who they did well throughout all 3 was Garrett. Rex, that's what I was thinking of, Rex. They did Rex dirty too. The Krogans, that's who I was trying to think of, yeah. Rex, they did dirty. I mean, and canonically, he can, or no, not Rex. Grunt can die. I feel like he got kind of dirty too. Garrus, yes, thank you, Garrus. It's been a while since I played him. All right. That thing I remember seeing it. If you've never played Mass Effect and you enjoy shooters at all, it's a good story. It's a lot of fun. What are your favorite story games, guys? I love story games. I really do. And I kind of get annoyed at people who whine too much about, not having alternate endings and stuff. Because in order to tell the story, you kind of have to force people down a path. I remember playing Vampire, not Bloodlines. What was the one that came before Bloodlines? I forget the name of it, but it's in the Vampire universe, and you play through it, and at the end, so you can have a alternate ending, you can become the bad guy, and it's kind of out of nowhere, really. Oh man, you guys got lots of video games. I love video game chat. Hang on, I'm going to open this up so I can read more at once. Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age, I like the story, but I get bored with the gameplay. Far Cry 3 was a fun game with a fun story. Far Cry 3 was my introduction to the Far Cry series. I have gone back and played 1 and 2 since. I did not finish either of them. I played a little bit of 1 and got annoyed with it because of how old it was and outdated. 2 was a little bit better, and I got about halfway through it, but I'm like, I don't care anymore. So I played 3 again, and then I skipped 4, and then 5. Oh, I fucking love 5. Even though that's one of the ones where the forced story really is annoying because you keep getting kidnapped for no fucking reason at all because they have to tell the story, and they could not find a good way to implement it. And that always annoyed the shit out of me. Skyrim, I've still never finished Skyrim. I played a whole bunch of Skyrim, but I get really annoyed at the gameplay in that one. The whole star chart thing where you pick I don't like that at all. Favorite story game is Halo Reach to Halo 3, purely for nostalgic reasons. That's fair. Fallout 1, 2, 3 in New Vegas. You know, my son has recently played Fallout 1, and he's in the process of playing Fallout 2 now. And he started with 3 and New Vegas, and he's one of these. Me and him were talking about this. I'm not speaking out of turn or anything, but we were talking about it, and he's like, I now kind of regret all the times I said that people who complained about 1 and 2 or about 3 not being like 1 and 2. He goes, I get it now. I get it. They are wildly different experiences. They really are. But yeah, great stories. And I think 1 and 2 had great stories. 3 was okay. Vegas was interesting. Hack Part 1 through 4. I'm not even familiar with that one. Tales of the Abyss. Again, not one that I'm familiar with. Far Cry Blood Dragon was the best. Blood Dragon is a thing. Legacy of Kain is the GOAT. I've never played Legacy of Kain. I know what it is, but it's not one I've played. Baldur's Gate 1 through 3. Story-wise, I like the Baldur's Gate series. I don't know that they're my favorite stories, though. I don't think I've ever played those for the story. I played them to be playing some D&D. Although I did like the storyline in 3. Yakuza Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth are amazing. Is Yakuza Like a Dragon? Is that the new one? Started with Far Cry 1. Damn, you're old school. Dragon Age gone gigawoke. Makes me very sad. Isn't there a new Dragon Age coming out? Do you guys think it'll be like the last Saints Row game? Vamp Games Soul Reaver and Blood Rain. I've never played the Blood Rain series. I do remember when they made the movie, though. I never watched it. Splinter Cell was I loved Splinter Cell. I played Splinter Cell up through whatever came right before Double Agent. I own all of them on Steam. I've just never gone back to play them. But whichever one comes, is it Chaos Theory that comes right before that one? Where they finally introduced the knife, which should have been introduced so early on in the game. This is Kyle. Thank you. Monkey should stream Halo Reach. Wink. I really should play it. I have it. I just haven't loaded up yet. JB, thank you. Yakuza Game Series is actually getting a show this October, which is being done by the studio that makes the games. Well, then good. Maybe they'll do the fans right. I was watching Disparu, or however you say his name, his video going over Randy Pitchford's freak out on Twitter over all of the negative comments going on about Borderlands, which had to be expected. Pitchford is a fucking bitch. I love the Borderland games, but he's a straight up bitch, and he cannot take any criticism. Saints woke. One day I'm going to buy the latest Saints Row game. Occasionally it's on sale for like $5. One of these days I'll pick it up just to play through how bad it is. Have you heard of Dredge? It's a fun little game. Not that I'm aware of. It doesn't ring a bell. Chrono Trigger. I've never played the Chrono Trigger or the Chrono series because there's several of them. I know they're highly regarded. KOTOR 1 and 2, Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, I liked Knights of the Old Republic 1. And I was genuinely surprised by the twist ending. When you play it back, if you were like me and surprised by it, it's so obvious. But when I played it the first time, I was invested. 2, I have a lot bigger problem with, and not the least of which is that the idea of gray Jedis is repugnant to me. It goes against the very notion of the Force of light versus dark. And it was part of this movement, the whole great Jedi thing of Hollywood and entertainment in general, where everything has to be, like shades of gray because nothing is black and white. No, Luke was good, Vader was evil. Until the third movie where they give him a redemption because it's his kid. But no, Luke is good, Vader's evil. I don't need any goddamn grayness in my good and evil stuff. You watched Godzilla -1 yet? No, I haven't. I have not got to see that yet. I did watch Godzilla and King Kong. And I got to be honest with you, I got bored with it. I would look up when it was time for the fighting, but otherwise I couldn't care less about it. In those movies, the humans are sideline characters anyway. But at least in Godzilla versus King Kong, they made it a little more interesting. I could not care less about giving Kong a root canal. A Force user who uses both sides is not a Jedi. Yeah. There are literal gray Jedi. Stop it. There are no gray Jedi. That is some bullshit that got made up later. There's light and dark. There's not. It's a little bit dark. Darth Vader literally translates as Dark Father. There you go. I forgot I sponsored G-1 for you. Did you? I don't remember that. Well, in that case, I have a good reason to pick it up to watch it because I really do want to see it because it's supposed to be so good. It seems familiar now that you mentioned that, but yeah. Wait, did I actually buy it and never watch it? I don't remember if I did or not. That would not be unlike me to buy something and not use it. Godzilla -1. Oh no, I still need to pick it up. Okay, so yeah. I do remember you doing it, but yeah, I had forgotten. You're right. Look, a lot of times stuff happens on the show, and then I turn the show off, and everything that just happened is gone. Never beat Skyrim or FO4 because of the same reason, game-breaking glitches. I don't know if there's any games that I've never finished because of glitches. I mean, typically, if I run into glitches that bad, I stop early enough that I don't know that I would consider really playing it. I have run into games where I've had to go back several hours because of actually Knights of the Old Republic is one of them. One of my saves fucked up and I had to go back. Saw it in the theater. Goddamn good. Or damn good. Yeah, I want to see that one because I'm interested in a Godzilla movie where they make the people actually matter. Any of you play any fighting games? I love fighting games, but I suck at them. I don't. The closest I come to fighting games is I love wrestling games. I have one of the 2K series wrestling games that I play from time to time. I haven't played it in quite a while, but that I play from time to time. I've loved wrestling games going all the way back to the NES. Remember NES wrestling that had the guy in the pink outfit with the blue star on his face? That's who I always played as. Was his name Starman? And he would do the one move where you grab your opponent and you jump up and you do a backflip, but as you're doing the backflip, you kick your opponent in the face. I love me some wrestling games. What's up, Jack? How you doing, man?
Hello. I was
You're
asleep.
just here winding down, chatting with the audience.
I figured.
I played the Naruto fighting games. I totally suck at fighting games. I'm not quick enough or smart enough to remember the combos. I'm one of those people, if I stop playing a game for a couple of months, I have to relearn the controls. So trying to learn Starscream, was that his name? Did they get sued by Hasbro for that? But so for fighting games where you have to remember combinations, like you get XXB, R, 13, 5, 6. I there's no way I can remember all that shit. You play fighting games, Jack? When you played games?
Yeah, sometimes. Like you, I liked them, but I wasn't good at them.
I love the idea of Mortal Kombat. I could never get past the second rung on the ladder up.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat. I think the furthest I ever got was like the third guy.
I beat the shit out of whoever the first guy was. That was my Glass Joe, man.
Yeah.
But you get to that second one, and nope.
Yeah, the level team, the difficulty level. That's the words. The words are hard. It just was a shocking amount of difficult compared to the first guy. I clearly have lost the ability to form sentences. My favorite was Killer Instinct, the stand-up arcade.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, that one in Samurai Showdown.
That one I remember.
Yeah.
Understatement says if Monk tries to play a Naruto game, his hands will fall off, then run away to a cabin in the Arctic to recuperate. I actually have a lot of, well, maybe not anymore. I had a lot of dexterity in my hands. It wasn't the moving quick enough or anything. It's the memory part of what you have to hit. Jack, can you tell Monk he should own that crappy Saints Row game?
Monkey, you should own that crappy Saints Row game.
Because I sent him a humble link. Did you really? I'll have to look. And this is another one of those things where I believe you 100%, and I probably even responded. And then I immediately forgot.
I've heard the Saints Row games are fun, but they're not, GTA level, awesomeness. They're just silly fun.
Saints Row 1 was basically, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. Saints Row 1 was basically just a straight ripoff of GTA, basically San Andreas. And it was a lot of fun. GTA 2, I've still never been able to play. I own it on Steam, but the port is horrible. So trying to play it has always just been janky, so I haven't got to. But it was in the same vein where they tried to keep it a basic clone. And then 3 and 4 come out, and they're just off the chain, man. They just went, you know what? Fuck it, let's have fun. And then they remade it, and the newest one is a woke piece of garbage that even woke people are like, that's just trash. That game is such a woke piece of garbage, Jack, that the woke part of it isn't even what most people complain about.
Wow.
It's the actual gameplay is just trash, apparently, and the story's dumb as shit, and the bugs that were in it at launch were humorous if you go watch some of the videos on it. Oh, somebody did ask about or mention the newer Spider-Man games. I still haven't played Miles Morales or Spider-Man 2. I played the first Spider-Man, and I had a lot of fun being Spider-Man. I wasn't a big fan of the storyline, and some of the boss fights were unnecessarily dumb.
Did you have fun being Ace Reporter, Mary Jane Watson?
No.
Oh.
Being having, and not just Ace Reporter, investigative photographer. She's literally Peter.
Yeah, that's how women get
photographer.
empowered. No. They have to steal from the men. That's how they get empowered.
They could have at least made her an actual reporter. You know what I mean? Steal Lois Lane, for fuck's sake. But the worst part of that game is the Miles Morales mission. And not because you're playing as Miles Morales, but because it literally serves no point. This is what happens, Jack. You go and your father is giving an award or something. I forget why he's talking. And then there's an attack and your father gets killed. And you have to sneak around and escape with no powers, just as regular old ass Miles Morales. And that's it.
That's stupid.
It's really dumb, and it makes no sense to have it in there other than say you can play as Miles.
Diversity.
Yeah. To catch you up, Jack, we are answering what game stories do you like the most. That's true. That was the question to the audience last. Jack, did you ever play story games? And if so, what are your favorite games you played story wise?
Zork. I remember playing Skyrim, so games like that.
Yeah, games like that would definitely qualify.
Oh, okay. I played Silent Hill. I don't know if that's a story game.
A story game is just a game that it's not like open world where you can do whatever. The whole point of the game is there's a storyline you're following. You get to the end and the game's over.
There were a couple that on like PS1 that I don't really remember, but I know I liked them. Yeah, I can't think of any others off the top of my head that I really liked. Oblivion was pretty good.
Oh, Oblivion was great. Oblivion is a game that actually made me think, which doesn't happen very often. Me being made to think. I think all the time, you guys, but a game making me think. I was at the end of Oblivion, literally two gods fight in front of you. And I just got stuck on the concept of if you're the main character, right? And you just watch two gods fight in front of you and you helped one of them win. How does the rest of your life have any meaning?
You're probably still cleaning your trousers out.
And it led me on a lot of late night thinking sprees of just like, everything would be so mundane after that.
Yeah.
Mary Jane will officially be race swapped eventually. They've already turned her into girl next door instead of glamorous supermodel, which is what she's supposed to be.
Yeah, snarky neighbor girl.
Yeah, she's every girl from a John Hughes film. And that's not what she was. She was glamorous. Literally a supermodel. Like, no, she's got some freckles and a ponytail now. Fuck off. Old Sierra Quest games, Kings, Police, Space. I never played Police Quest, but I had played the original King's Quest and Space Quest.
I played Betrayal at Krondor.
I'm not familiar.
That was a good game.
Sam and Max never played. Monkey Island never played that one either. We used to have computers in our school, that had the Quest games. So I never got to finish them. But my favorite Quest game were the original Leisure Suit Larry games.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were made in the same style. And I still remember, for those of you who don't know what a Leisure Suit Larry game is, the originals, because they did remakes about 20 years ago. Has it really been that long? Fuck. But the originals, your whole goal was to get laid. And about halfway through, you can bang a prostitute. And the first time I banged her, I died, Jack, because I didn't have a condom. And I thought, okay, no big deal. You go back and you go through everything and you get the condom first and then you bang her. And instead of the game being over, nope, it doesn't count because prostitution sex doesn't count. Like, you guys are dicks.
That is kind of douchey.
Yes, indeed. But it was funny as shit. So I appreciated it for what it was. I remember the PC game where you skied down the mountain and get eaten by Yetis. No, that does not ring a bell.
No, I'm afraid not.
Ever play the game Hunter Hunted? Best story game with no dialogue. No, it's not familiar. If I did play it, it's one that I've put out of my memory. That's kind of shit that had me failing Hobo Simulator. I have Hobo Simulator and I still haven't played it. I played, what was the one that me and Stunlock played? Hobo Simulator, maybe that is the one I played, and Bum Simulator is the one I have and haven't played yet.
What, did you miss jumping on a train car or something?
No. There's things like if it's the game I'm thinking about, Hobo Life, that's when I played. Thank you. You have to be like careful about what foods and stuff you eat. Yeah. Mafia re-released on Game Pass. I watched. Okay, I have all 3 Mafia games. I got them on a Humble Bundle, and I sat down to play them, and I couldn't play them. The controls in the Mafia game are straight trash. They're just trash. So instead, I watched a thing that went through all the cutscenes, so I knew what the story was. Because the story's interesting, but the controls are just trash in that game.
I had that problem with Dead Rising.
There's a lot of horror games where the controls are just shit.
Yeah. Like, just give me basic Call of Duty style controls. Your game could be the best ever for story, but if the combat sucks, nobody wants to fucking play that.
Yeah. And for me, it wasn't even necessarily, it was the driving that really sucked.
Oh, I hate it when they throw driving in some of these games.
I don't mind it. Okay, so like GTA, the driving is just silly. If you tried to drive like that in real life, you would be dead quickly. But it's fun. They get the arcadey style of how driving should be in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And then a game like Cyberpunk 2077, I had a lot of trouble playing that game because I was trying to drive like you would in GTA, and they tried to make it a more realistic driving experience. So you need to slow down for your turns, and you need to actually stop at stoplights, or there's a good chance you're going to crash. But I can deal with either of those because at least I can learn the rules. The driving is just clunky and nasty in Mafia. I fucking hated it. I love the Cyberpunk driving. Really? Mafia 1, you had to drive the fucking speed limit. It was just so clunky. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Deus Ex I own, but I've never played. Or I played a little bit of it, but by the time I got to it, it was so outdated, I couldn't enjoy it. I can respect it for what it was at its time, but having not played it then, there's some games you just can't go back to. You know, when you played more modern games, going back to a polygonal figure where there's clearly polygons showing. And then they had Human Revolution and whatever the last one was. I don't own those ones. Those are ones I've looked at before, but have never played. I only like the motorcycles in Cyberpunk. The motorcycles are fun. I like motorcycles in any game. And if there's a driving game that doesn't have them, I get annoyed. There was a game series called Driver. Yep. Don't think I've played it. I might even own one of them on Steam, but I haven't played it.
I've heard they're pretty fun, but I've never played it.
There's a lot of games that I own on Steam that I haven't played because I was subscribed to Humble Bundle, so I got a bunch of games just monthly. Driver, I don't remember which driver it was, but I'm pretty sure I have one of them. Subnautica is fun, both 1 and 2. I get the appeal of Subnautica, but it's the collection shit you have to do to get each new upgrade. To me, it's way too much like the book collecting in fucking 7 days now. But I got annoyed with it, so I've never played that long.
My sister did a random Nautica. Does that count?
No. Max Payne for a good story. Max Payne, good call. 1 and 2 were great. I still haven't played 3. I loaded it up the other day, but there's an issue with my Rockstar account where if I don't open the Rockstar application first. When I click it on Steam, it'll come up and tell me my account isn't able to play it.
Oh.
And so I got annoyed and didn't play. And I was like, now I want to play Red Dead, so I had to do it anyway.
I've heard Max Payne 3 is the weakest of the three.
Batman Arkham games had a decent story. I played most of one, but I get bored with the Batman games.
I liked 1 and 2, but they're hard for me because I'm not a regular gamer.
Fair.
I'm a filthy casual, so I greatly enjoyed them, but they were difficult. Getting all the phone calls from Zaz was a pain in the fucking ass. Like, I had less trouble with BioShock, and I got like 90% complete on BioShock, which is shocking. Okay, I usually just focus on completing the game, but BioShock 1, I got almost all the audio recordings. I had a hell of a time with Batman.
I was just asked how many games I had on Steam, and I was thinking, oh, I can't open it up because I'm on the AT&T. It's not downloading, and it's open. So I was like, cool, we can look. Anybody want to guess? How many would be too many, Jack? And understand, I've had Steam for like since Steam started, basically.
I'm gonna go with 500.
According to this, I have 18 years of service on here.
Oh, in that case, 1,000.
No, you were closer the first time.
Oh.
I have 585. Faithless is the closest there. But with Price is Right rules, you went over.
Haha, I win both showcases.
Yeah, I have a lot, but even this is going to sound funny for those of you like 500 games. Again, that is over 18 years. A lot of those came from Humble Bundles. There are people out there that have like 3,000 games. I didn't even know there were that many.
Oh yeah, there's crazy amounts of games, especially if you get into indie stuff, right?
Oh sure, yeah. Or the naked games, because there are a whole bunch of naked games on Steam.
Really?
There's
allowing that?
They've allowed it for a long time. You just have to specifically look for it. Going back to Echo the Dolphin, I never played Echo the Dolphin. I had a Genesis, but playing as a dolphin seemed feminine to me. I'm being honest.
Like Girl Sonic.
Yeah, it's a girl game, so I never played it. And that is a horrible way to be, but understand, I was in my teens, so.
Dark Resurrect just said that the creator of the X-Men 97 show on Disney Plus was just fired for allegations of sexual misconduct.
Shocking.
Yeah. I am in no way surprised by that. I'd be, if you wanted to really shock me, it would be accusations from a woman.
I only have 433, but I don't put the Humble Bundle games on my account unless I intend to play them. I have a shit ton of them still sitting in my inventory over on Humble Bundle, but I put ones on that I was interested in and I might play one day. Poker Face has 1,192 games. See, there's tons of people who got a bunch more than me.
Wow, 1,192. Holy shit.
Now let's talk most game time in a single game. Mine is over 4,000
hours.
Holy
fuck, dude! I played like 120 hours of Skyrim and felt super badass because I pretty much just did that all summer one year.
Looking at the games on my profile, Red Dead, I played 606 hours, and that's not counting the time I played on the PlayStation.
Holy fuck, dude.
No Man's Sky, I have 877 hours. And then, of course, 7 days would be the most with over 4,000, yeah. Monk, you going to see the new Joker movie? I was not a huge fan of the original Joker movie. I'm not a big fan of gritty movies. it's not being, like counterculture or anything like that, Jack. I understand the appeal, but like Raging Bull, I know people love that. I can't fucking watch it.
I don't remember Raging Bull. I know I've seen it. I just don't remember it. It's one of those movies that just, not there anymore. But the like Taxi Driver, I like that. I do like some gritty movies.
Taxi. I said Raging Bull. My bad. I meant Taxi Driver. Sorry.
I figured.
Yeah.
But
I'm just not a fan of it, and they turned it into a musical that seems like they're trying to go the modern musical route where they're using some pop music like Moulin Rouge did.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate it in Moulin Rouge. I'm not sure how I would like it in The Joker.
Yeah, they're trying, I think, a little too hard to be different because the movie didn't need a sequel. It was probably better off without one. But with they're using modern music, it's going to get dated really, really fast.
Eagle says Raging Bull is in black and white. I was wondering. Yeah. That's why I don't watch Raging Bull. It's in black and white. That's not a joke, guys. That's true. I'm not a big fan of black and white, and I have to have a very compelling reason to watch it.
I didn't know that was in black and white.
The original Raging Bull.
Yeah,
the De Niro boxing movie.
Yeah, I don't remember it at all, dude. I know I've seen it, but just blocked it out for some reason. I did that with The Godfather too. I was like, I've never seen this movie, and I sat down with one of my friends to watch it. I'm like, I have seen this. I just wanted to forget it for some reason.
Understatement says, so you never saw Casablanca. All right. Here's a contradiction in Monkey. One of my top 5 favorite films is Casablanca. I can't explain it. I love the movie. It's a great movie. But it's one of those ones that I sat down to watch, very much like Citizen Kane, where like you have to see this movie. I'm like, fuck it, I'll watch it. And I've done that with many black and white movies, and most of them I still think are trash. Every rule has an exception, Monk. Fair. Haven't seen that movie in 45 years. Casablanca, what?
You're not missing much.
What is Casablanca even about? It's about a guy who owns a
nightclub
bar. Is that a nightclub? Thank you. Rick's Casablanca whorehouse or whatever it is. But he owns it, and this chick who's involved with a dude comes back into his life, and I don't want to ruin the rest of the movie if you've never seen it. It's a tale of intrigue and love and betrayal. 12 Angry Men. I've never watched all of either version of 12 Angry Men.
I'm not really a fan. I think that it's a little over the top in both versions. A lot of people love it, and I can see why they love it. It just isn't for me.
Is it a romance movie? I assume we're still talking about Casablanca. It definitely has romance in it. Kind of a tragic story.
Yeah.
Really. There was another video game, Skyrim on PC, 420 hours, not including PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One that play. Are you one of those people that has it on every platform you've owned? I mean, there's the joke out there that eventually Skyrim will be on everything because they keep just porting it instead of making Elder Scrolls 6, which is supposedly on the way. But after their space game, which was so memorable, I can't even remember the name of it right now. I'm not really expecting a lot out of the latest Elder Scrolls game when it finally releases. I hated the first Joker. Who thought Tourette's Joker was a good idea? Look, I understand why people like it. It's just it was not made for people like me.
Yeah,
Starfield. That's it. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jack.
It's not a traditional comic book movie. They're using the veneer. He's not even said to be the actual Joker. He's just somebody that went by that name.
Somebody asked me if my Steam is open for donations. You can donate to me on Steam. I love Steam money.
I like money in general.
Me too.
Money's awesome.
But see, if I get money on Steam, I don't have to explain to my wife why I spent the money on Steam. There's no discussion. I couldn't. I don't know what to tell you. It came through Steam. That's the only place I can spend it. Yeah, I love it. Counter-Strike 1.6, I had almost 3,000 hours. I played a lot of the original Counter-Strike. Played a bit of Counter-Strike Source and haven't played since. I enjoyed Counter-Strike, but I eventually I get tired of it.
I remember my brother played Siphon Filter on PS1, and he just ran around doing headshots through like the entire game. It was some challenge he created for himself just to do headshots on people. I think he finished it. I'm not sure.
Not a bad way to play. Give yourself. I like when we're able to give ourselves goals instead of the games forcing them on us.
Yeah.
What was that? You ever talk about the British dude who wants to extradite American citizens and prosecute them over speech? Oh, you're talking about the British Prime Minister, and yeah, he can go fuck himself. We didn't talk about it on the show. No, that was during my hiatus.
Yeah, that started with one of the police commissioners in the Metropolitan Police wanted to do that, and it's not going to fly. If they try and deport American citizens to the UK for speech crimes, I don't think that's going to go over too well.
Oh, I thought it was the PM who said that. Oh, I never played Siphon Filter. I've seen it before.
It was Siphon Filter. Yeah. I did that in Siphon Filter too. Yeah. Siphon Filter is a fucking great game. I sucked donkey cock at it, but I loved watching my brother play because he was great at it. He would just run around, shoot somebody in the head. It has the little brackets, his headshot.
Remember GoldenEye 64? They need to remake that. I have a much different memory of GoldenEye than most other people do. I wasn't as enamored with it. I had fun in it, don't get me wrong. I never finished it, but I did enjoy the mission where you get to crawl through the ducts and shoot the guy on the toilet in the head. There's something about shooting a guy taking a shit that's just funny. I feel that should be a thing in every video game.
I mean,
but the game, the game itself, I wasn't that big of a fan of. I didn't hate it or anything. It's just it didn't keep my attention that long. GoldenEye was all about the 4-player splits. Maybe that's part of why I didn't enjoy it as much. I played it myself.
Yeah, you had to play. That's a multiplayer game. I played it a few times with my friends, but I didn't have an N64. I wasn't very much of a Nintendo guy. I had the NES like most people, but we got it later on, so the games were like way cheaper. And then I had a Super NES for a while, and then I bought a PlayStation.
Warframe 693 hours. Apparently, I'm a scrub. There's some games where 693 hours is a ton, and then there's others where that's like, bitch, you just started. I don't even know how many hours I had in Warcraft. I mean, I basically played it for a decade, so probably at least 1,000.
Did you ever play Intelligent Cube?
That doesn't ring a bell.
That was another one that was a lot of fun to play, but I was terrible at it. You have these rolling sets of blocks, and you have to run out and highlight a square, and then absorb that block, and then make your way through the maze or through the blocks. It was a shockingly hard game, but like some of the cubes would glow, and that means if you trap them, it would eliminate ones around it, and you just had to avoid the blocks. And then when you beat the game, you could play as a girl, and then when you beat the game that way, you could play as a dog.
Laughing Man says use /played in WoW chat. I'm not subscribed to WoW, so I couldn't do that if I wanted to. I could probably. Can I look up my account on Battle.net? I don't know if it will show me my total hours played. I played a shit ton of Warcraft. Man, I don't like BattleNet anymore. I hate the changes they've made to it. Anyway, I played a lot. Did you ever play Galaga? No. I saw it in arcades all the time, but never played it.
Yeah, I played Galaga.
I had a Sega Genesis when the PS2 was a thing. I probably still had my Genesis when the PS2 came out. We eventually got a PS2. I mean, at this time, we're a young, poor family. I got my Genesis when I was still in my teens. And then we slowly got, when at Christmas time, we'd splurge and get one of the game systems, as new ones came out. But we'd have like 3 games for them and rent otherwise.
Yeah.
My StarCraft hours. I never played StarCraft. I like real-time strategy games, but the whole alien thing just doesn't do it for me. Alien bugs, basically. I'm not a.
I liked Dark Colony better.
Qbert, I loved Qbert, man. But I was more of a Frogger player.
Yeah, we didn't have
last time we went to Chuck E. Cheese. They had this game there that they should have just called Frogger because it was a direct ripoff of Frogger. Literally, you're crossing traffic and jumping onto logs and shit. I'm like, you guys are gonna get sued.
It's called Toady.
I had over 2 years playtime on WoW when I quit. Damn. Sins of a Solar Empire. I have that, and I don't think I have that one on Steam. I own one of the physical copies. And I played a little bit of it and got bored and never played again.
Real quick. Thank you, Evolved Potato. 8,117 hours in one game. The Binding of Alex Rebirth. I completed it several times. It's RNG based, so it takes forever to complete a save. And you have to do that 3 times to 100%. The cause, it has to be 3 saves that all need to be completed.
Yeah, my son plays The Binding of Isaac and has a shit ton of hours into it. I've never played it myself. Didn't they release a 2 recently, or they were going to?
Never heard of this game.
Yeah, it's another one of those that I understand why people play it, but it's not for me. Just Cause. I've played a little bit of Just Cause. Aren't there like 4 Just Cause games?
I think so.
I own 1, 2, and 3, and I know I've played each of them. I just don't know how long on each one. I never finished any of them. I played 5 minutes of Just Cause 1, 2.5 hours of 2. Oh, and apparently I never played Just Cause 3. Oh, that's another one that I got on Humble Bundle. There's like, oh, I'll play that one day. And never have. It's just taking up, it's not installed, so it's not taking up space. It's just taking up space in my list of games. I have 4 free from Epic. Oh, nice. Does Epic still give out free games every month? I haven't turned on my Epic account in forever. I'm now at the point where if it's an Epic exclusive, I'm just waiting the 6 months till it comes out on Steam. Because I don't need to have 2 fucking separate launchers.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are 2.5 hours in, and for at least the last hour, I've been talking about video games. So, have you played Metal Gear Monk? I played the original when it was first out. Have I played since? I don't think so.
I played Metal Gear Solid a couple times. Played Metal Gear like twice on NES. We rented it. So, but Russian Attack, I was way more interested in because that was frustratingly difficult.
I hate Epic. I don't hate Epic. I don't like the business practice, but I blame the companies that are doing it, the ones who give exclusive access to them. Yes, the original NES version of Metal Gear. I played that, and I was a child when it happened. That's back when I lived in Norfolk. But I know that because that's when we got our NES. But anyway, to Epic, I mean, I suppose you can blame them because they offer the exclusivity deals to these game companies. But if the game companies didn't take it, the offer wouldn't matter. So I blame the game companies more than I blame Epic. If people want to make new game platforms like that, like I have Good Old Games and my BattleNet and other ones where it's more exclusive, I don't have a problem with that. It's when a major release is coming out and like, nope, you can only play it on this. It takes me back to the console war days, and I hate that stupid shit. I don't like it. Don't force me into your way of doing it. Am I too American in that, Jack? I don't like to be forced.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand why the councils did it back in the day. Now it really makes no sense.
And that was part of the Microsoft acquisition of Activision. That was part of the argument going on, is that, oh, you're going to end up with, you can only have, there's already exclusivity on games, but these would be the big games. Isn't it a problem that we have that as a thing anyway? That there's so much exclusivity. If I'm the game developer, I want to get it on as many platforms as possible.
Yeah.
But I also understand that the game company comes along and throws a shit ton of money at you, and you're a small studio, and hey, we like a shit ton of money.
Do like a dump truck full of money backing up to my house, right?
Right. Sega will rise again. Sega, their story's kind of interesting because they're in the console wars. They get the Master System, and then they have the Genesis, and then they basically go away because their other platforms never worked out, and yet still remained largely successful. Atari is another one like this because they got into the game making business more than the console business.
Yeah, well, Atari kind of screwed themselves, and they lost a shit ton of money. The Jaguar just flopped.
It did. Could not compete with the Genesis and the NES, and yeah. But they have been successful in the game sphere. So Sega's slogan was shouting their name. True. And it was awesome. And was it really shouting? It was more of a sing-songy thing. Sega.
No, you had the ones that were like, Sega!
Oh,
remember?
I don't remember those.
Oh. Yeah, that was a big marketing campaign in like the late 80s, early 90s.
My Sega was mostly used for Sonic and Evander Holyfield's boxing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, we rented several games, but those were my main two. Neo Geo was for the rich.
Yeah, it was. They had some fun games. They had Samurai Showdown and what was the other one? They had a couple others. I think they had Final Fight, but they were just too expensive.
I remember playing my dad's Sega when I was young. Shut up. Fucking kids. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks for coming and hanging out. And to the 204 of you watching on YouTube and however many over on Rumble, thanks for hanging out while we talked about random shit, literally for the last hour plus. Game stream, no. I can barely move my arms right now. My biceps are in a lot of pain. I was doing yard work the other day, Jack.
Yeah, I know. I warned you about that.
It'll be fine. I just need a couple of days. I was talking to my wife about this. I'm trying to convince her to stop checking on me when I make noises. I promise you, if I need help, I will tell you. But I can't stop myself from making these noises, so I need you to stop asking me if I'm okay.
If she doesn't check on you, you're going to probably die.
No, I'll be fine. It's just that, again, guys, it's not normal muscle pain that you get. And I'm not trying, I'm better than you. No. Because of the problem in my neck, the pain is turned way up. So take a pulled muscle and add to that somebody literally trying to pull the muscle off your body. And that's what it feels like right now. And you know what, Jack? This is day 2, so tomorrow will be better. And 2 days from now, it'll be mostly gone, so no big deal.
And then you'll do it again, and the cycle will return.
Yeah. That's just life, man. What am I do? Not live?
I mean, you could probably learn from your mistakes.
It's not a mistake. Shit needs done.
You got kids. Make them do it.
We got to get a lot bigger for me to be able to afford not to have to take care of shit around the house.
Well, you heard the man. Like, share, and subscribe.
Don't you need more hours for your Twitch account? Who, me? My Twitch account, as far as I know, is still in good standing. It hasn't fallen out of where I'm still monetized over there.
Now, it did some new scandalous crap come out from Mr. Beast?
If it has in the last day or so, I haven't seen it. The last thing that I saw was what we talked about, I think, yesterday with the Delaware guy.
Oh. Well, I was thinking you could change your name to Mr.
Mr. Beast? No.
Yeah, Mr. It's spelled Beast funny, and then we could steal all his audience.
I don't want any association other than laughing and ridiculing that dude who was joking about a guy who molested a 1 through 11-year-old.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. So fuck that guy. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thank you for the donations. You guys are so very kind. Jack, anything you want to show?
I'll drop a link to a video. I should have some new videos up very soon. Thank you so much for all the support you guys give us. Thanks for the donations. And we're happy to see you guys come out night after night to listen to us ramble.
Next week will be a little bit different because we're going to have the DNC convention. I don't plan on watching any of it live.
Yeah.
But we might. The plan right now, Jack, is to just pick different parts of it and jump in and have fun.
Yeah, it works.
So we'll be doing a live delayed reaction. It'll be live, us seeing it for the first time, or at least me seeing it for the first time. And I'm going to do my best to stay off Twitter. I don't want to get what's the word? Biased before I see it.
Yeah.
But there'll probably be a lot longer streams. But until then, it's going to be based on the news cycle. And we haven't done this in a long time where I'm just chatting with the audience, and I always enjoy it. And I appreciate you guys hanging out for it. Everybody take care of yourselves. Jack, thank you for joining me.
Oh, always glad to be here.
Have a great one, guys. We love you. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye, everybody.
This is the end of the show. Now it's time for you to go. Bye now.